feel so salty. Whatever did I do to make you feel so strong? But I do you wrong. Tell me how you feel. How do you feel?
Good morning, everyone. How are we this morning?
Good morning.
Oh, I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Um, Guys, I don't know if your notifications are going out or not. Mine just went out on my phone, so hopefully people are getting their notifications. I know that some have issues with it, but
Oh, yeah, I see.
we'll
I
see.
see it.
Did you get it? Cool. Good deal. So I'm excited for this morning's show. As usual, it's great to have you here, Joe. As always, Dolphin, thanks for joining us again.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's
we're
good to
gonna,
be here.
well, yeah, I was so glad you came up last time, and so I really wanted to do this today. And we had the idea to invite Forensic Frenzy back onto the show. We had a great conversation last time, and so we wanted to have her back as well.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, let me
Uh,
turn my phone down. I've got notifications and stuff coming in.
yeah, I got mine on. Mine's all
Ringtone
turned down.
down.
So,
Let's see.
good morning, Jasmine. Did you get your coffee?
I sure did, and then I left the speaker downstairs with my boyfriend, so he's the only one hearing the show.
Are we all having technical difficulties this morning? Mercury's not in retrograde, is it, or something that we're not aware of? I don't
I
know.
just went downstairs and I found him in my kitchen dancing with the dogs to your theme song. So I got totally distracted by all the cuteness in my kitchen, and I left the speaker right down there and came upstairs.
Okay.
Got it all together now, guys.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep it together. Making sure we get this show on the road this morning here. Just take a minute to get, let me get over here to my comments section. Oh, about snatched my headset clean off my head. I still didn't order me a new one yet, Dolphin. I'm being lazy. Yeah, I need to do that because I was recording that video that I dropped this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never done like a speaking video like that, and I didn't like it because you could hear my S's and stuff like that. I'm like, ew, that annoys me.
Yeah.
I know it annoys you. I don't like it, so I was like, no. I got to get a better mic if I'm going to be doing this stuff.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to watch it yet because I started looking in that list of exhibits, and I just, like I said, I was cringing the
That's all it
whole
was.
time.
It was just a small piece about that,
Mm-hmm.
nothing. It was just showing a little bit of a teaser is all it was. So looking at the chats, good morning, Firefly. We are glad you could join us. We have got to get you up here on panel with Dolphin and I. We're going to get that scheduled up because I know what that will turn into. Welcome in, Forrest, as usual. Thank you for being here. Forrest, if you could you drop Forensic Frenzy into the chat, please, her channel?
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So she's got some great content over there, guys. Her content changed and evolved over time, which is going to be a lot the way a lot of us do with these cases as they progress on. But she did a lot of work in the beginning, looking into a lot of the document deep dives, and things progressed and changed for her, and she's explained that throughout her video series over there. So I suggest you guys go over there and give her a watch and take a look at what she's got going on over there. She's got some pretty good stuff. Good morning, Jeff. So Forensic, I did see your last video drop that you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, curious about how maybe I don't know if you guys have seen it. You want to give us a little bit of background about that for a moment?
Yeah, so just a second. I am actually bringing up that document that you were just talking about with the list of evidentiary.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go over that thing for sure.
Yeah, I want to make sure I have that up before we look at it. So I'm just
great.
pulling
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the most recent live video or the most recent actual like pre-recorded video?
The pre-recorded video, the dumpster.
Ski mask or the okay.
Yes.
So to be totally fair with you, you had just mentioned some of my earlier content and my course of change. Again, initially, I assumed that Brian Koberger was one of, two, maybe three. I actually really thought two, but just one of multiple perps in that light. Starting this channel, that's where I was, and I was looking through the documents, and the ones that didn't say Brian's name, I assumed may have been attributed to the other person, right? But over the course of my time, I then become interconnected with some of the families, and I learn more information regarding the two men from the local business and the informant and Brent Kopaka, what the families have been told as far as if that was or was not related. And unanimously, they have been told that that was unrelated. With that being said, I then began to kind of lean toward what the families were being told, that Brian is the only person of interest for this quadruple murder. However, I've always told the families that I have doubt and that I think they are being lied to. I don't say that often on YouTube, but I do say it every once in a while, and it's just what it is. I've always told them I think they're being lied to about the two men from the store. And I do think that they're being lied to about what actually happened over in Washington. Now, whether or not that means Brent Kopaka was involved or that the police just thought he was, and that was a complete mistake, either or, I think they're being lied to. So, as of the latest hearing in court, I am going back and forth as to whether or not I was right originally, and Brian is just one of multiple perps. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. But going back to your question about my latest video, if what the families are being told is true, and Brian is the only suspect, then I do believe the person at the dumpster at 3:14 a.m. is likely Brian. I believe that would tie into why on November 15th, the dumpster seizure was so urgent and why it hadn't been done sooner. They didn't know that the dumpsters were relevant until they caught that on the Linda Lane footage. I would also assume that the person from the dumpster at 3:14 is the same person who walks by the Linda Lane parking camera at 3:16, and that person makes the same loop that the vehicle does. They just do it on foot. So if Brian's the only perpetrator, then I do believe he may also be the man in the ski mask from the TikTok, I don't know, geo picture or whatever.
Did someone captured it on a ring cam?
No, not that I know of. The picture that I have came from a TikTok post, and there is actually a username attached to it. The username was the Deli Boys.
Oh yeah, that's right, because you and I talked about that a little bit. So the timing of all that, because we know the car is allegedly seen driving in certain locations at certain times. Did you match all that up with the time he was at the dumpster? Like he would have had time to park and walk around on foot just to canvass a little bit? Is that what you were thinking he was doing?
So if what Ann Taylor says is accurate to the prosecution's story, I get my information from Ann. But if what she says is accurate to their story, the time that Brian's phone turned off is no longer 2:47. It's been updated to 2:54. That would put him turning the phone off 1 minute after he's seen going toward Route 270. And if you calculate from 2:54, it would take him until just before about 3:10 to get to 1125 Ridge Road. I
Hmm.
believe he parked in their rear parking area, and you'll see the person approach on foot about 7 minutes later. Now, if you look on Google and just put in the route as if you're going to walk from 1125 Ridge Road to the dumpster at 1320 Linda Lane, it's exactly 7 minutes. 254 plus the 15 minutes that it takes to get there, plus 7 minutes to walk is 22 minutes. 254 to 314 is exactly 20 minutes. So it fits in perfect timing that could be Brian at the dumpster at 3:14 a.m.
And he would have made entry into the home after that.
Very much after that, the lap around the house on foot would happen. The photo of the person in the ski mask would be sent out while this person was lapping, during the time period that this person was lapping around the house on foot. And then this person is allegedly inside of the car, and now the car is making the same lap around the house. So it kind of makes sense,
Yeah.
and fits in, but it fits in with there being one person, unless there is more than one person. And then in that case, the person at the dumpster does not have to be Brian. It does fit with Brian leaving Washington State University, though. So
It's very interesting. I always like to look at everybody's work and see what everybody's got going on. And I don't watch a lot of Idaho farm anymore from a lot of people because it got so crazy. But I have watched your content. Like I said, I mean, I remember the day you came on this, and
Oh, yeah.
so we have been watching your content all along. Yeah, right, Dolphin. We've been
Mhm.
watching it from. We've watched you evolved. I know Dolphin talks to you as well, and so we just really wanted to get you on and get your take on things. And then last night, that's when I noticed that document had dropped. We had a document or a case summary thing had come down about unsealing some things, and I thought, well, I wonder if that's going to have to do with that the transcript stuff we're going to be getting. Did it pertain to that? And then this document came down last night, or I guess it must have, since today's Sunday, it probably came out Friday night or whatever evening, but I didn't see it until yesterday. So we are going to go over that. Now, one thing I did want to do first, I know there are a lot of new people to the case. There are people who've been in the case, for a while, but they don't know a lot of the gist. And I want you guys to ask questions in the chat. If we have answers, we will certainly give them to you. But learning the lay of the land for me was really important around that home to understand where these movements are allegedly happening and how. And like I have stated in the past, I didn't realize in the beginning you could drive behind the Queen Road apartments. And then we started getting YouTubers, boots on the ground down there, showing us what it really looked like and that you could. So I have a video that we're going to start off with, and it's for that purpose. Let me fix my screen here. It's just to give you guys a nighttime visual drive around that property, and I want to show you something interesting about it. Now, the person who made the video, I will acknowledge them. I did turn their volume all the way down because I just didn't want to listen. No shade, but just didn't want to. There was no need for us to listen to the context because we're going to talk about it as it's playing. Let me pull it up here. It is a video that JLR did a long time ago. And I remember, Firefly, you will remember because you turned me on to this when we were trying to get I was like, can you drive back there? And she's like, well, hold on. Have you seen this? And this was like, we're talking a year ago, right? If not more now. So this is a little video. He don't like me much, but anyway, I added some images to it as well, and it's just some music in the background. If it's too loud, I'll turn it down, but you can see a good visual, and I can tell you as it's playing what you're seeing in case you are you don't know. But let me get my screen up here and get all this going, and then we're going to jump into this document stuff, and talk about one thing in particular. about the documents, and then we're going to jump into the actual looking of the document. Come back here. Okay, let me stop it right there and get my screen up. Oh, like I'm over here trying to be Hot Mess Express this morning. Sorry, guys. All right. So this is going to take us, we are on Taylor Avenue, and you can see in the right-hand corner there, the big E and the X, that is Sigma Chi. Now look, Ethan and Xana, isn't that crazy? But that is the Sigma Chi house, and across, and I put a little map here, you can see where the Sigma Chi is. It's right directly across from King Road and the home itself. Of course, the band field is out there as well. So I'm going to throw this up. Let me get the comments up where I can see. Okay. Now he just turned up a left off of Taylor onto Queen, or actually it's technically King Road. And then he'll go left on Queen, which is also known as King. I hate to confuse y'all, but that's just the way it is. We're going to call them all King Road. How about that? So he just took a left onto King Road and another left onto King Road in just a moment. Okay, and see the house up there? This is your light bulb camera house, 1112, that can clearly see the intersection where he just came through. Look, I don't know why it's freezing up. Hold on, let me make sure everything's... Hang on. Something just happened. I got to pull the screen down again and make it start over each time. I hate that. This must be a restream. Okay, so now he is passing directly in front of the King Road homes, and that layout's not letting you guys see my picture, but it's a picture of the King Road house. I'll try to change that layout in just a sec. I'm sorry, the Queen Road apartments. This will be him going down in front of the apartments, making his way toward the back. Now he's approaching the back parking lot where we see the car on Linda Lane coming in at. And if you'll notice, you guys probably can't see it here. I showed a picture of what the parking lot actually looks like in the daytime. And here's where you come up all the way into the parking lot and head toward the back of those apartments, and you dip down behind the building. This would be in this area back here is where he would have allegedly. Now he's made his way down that little side road between the home and the apartments, and will be going left back around the home. Now, when he gets right here, instead of going right back toward Taylor, he does go left for a moment, and it dead ends. He's going to turn around and go back. And that house you're looking at, that's Jack's house. That was Kaylee's boyfriend, lived in that home. He felt the need to show their mailboxes, so that when he gets right here, this is back at King and Taylor, he stops. For some reason, he gets out and he looks around for a moment, and he's going to get back in and drive down Walenta, and that's what I want to show you guys. Now, he did say that little building right there on the right-hand side of the street, that there is a big drain out in the middle of the road right in front of that. And then he pointed out another drain just down the street. I was like, interesting. Don't you think they would have checked those drains? Okay, it is believed that the perpetrator left the home at a high rate of speed at 420, speeding down in front of the home. Gets to this particular point and goes left, the direction he's about to go. That's what we think had happened. But when he gets back here on Walenta, I want you to see, because notice the time of year. He was not there not long after the killings and all that good stuff. But just watch what you can actually see from back there. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was on mute again. I hope I wouldn't because I've been stopping and commentating, so I hope you guys could hear me. Um, but isn't it surprising how much of that home you can see from Moreland to Drive? And a lot of us knew that you could see it from back there, but it's always great to see a really good visual. So if you're stalking or driving around, doing whatever it is you're doing, you drive down Walenta or Ridge, whichever one you want to call it. You can see that house clearly. You'll know when lights are going out and things of that nature are happening. So what do you guys think? Joe, I know I don't think you've seen the whole visual of that yet.
I have not. No, that was very helpful. That was definitely very helpful. It's hard to tell just by looking at Google Earth or Google Maps what streets connect to what. So that helped me figure some things out for sure.
I figured it would. I thought about you as I was making it, because I knew that it's just I had a hard time in the beginning with it, until I learned it and figured it out, and I was like, oh, okay, now certain things make sense. So, yeah, I hope that people did. Again, thank you, JLR, for your video, for being boots on the ground and driving around for us.
Yeah, it's nice to see that perspective.
Sorry, Dolphin, I just saw the back chat. So
that's okay.
Girl, I love you. Her critiques are awesome. And believe me, if anybody's gonna give me critiques, she is, and I can handle it.
Girl.
I think we've known each other for too long, and I'll be like, what about this? She'd be like, girl, that sucks. But you gotta love it. I do. Let me check the chat here. Let's see who's welcome in, everyone.
Don't feel bad. Dolphin tells me all the time when something sucks. He's like, we're just gonna have to screen here.
You guys are giving me a bad reputation.
No, we love you. We love your feedback and your perspective on things and your research as well. You've always got good input on these things.
Thank you.
You really do. You know how many times you and I, Firefly, have spent in that Discord for 6 hours? Then it's welcome in, Sirius Black. Like I said, Firefly, is great to see you. Glitter, you came in, didn't you? Need some Z's. Hey, Christy, how are you? And Jeff, of course, thanks for being here. Now we're gonna there was something talked about in the hearing the other day, and we had a little discussion in the chat about it. And Dolphin and I discussed it a little bit. And we're going to get an attorney's perspective on it. And there was something that Ann said about the warrants during the hearing. About them being needed to have the affidavit attached to the warrant to serve to the companies. And I was like, no, they just need the warrant. And then Dolphin brought up a good point as well. Well, if this is a sealed case or a criminal case, do you want them to get the affidavits attached? They can see what evidence they have against this perpetrator at that point. So it made sense that the only one who needs to see the affidavit is the judge, right? Once he signs the order, you assume everything's on the up and up, and the company has to comply with the judge's order. So Dolphin sent me a piece this morning that we're going to review. Let me pull that up. This is Emily D. Baker Forrest. If we could get that link into the chat. She's good, down to earth. She's funny, and she's like me. She has a love for the cussy words. So if you're offended by the F-bombs, don't go over there. But hey, she's cool as hell. She really is. You'd be surprised at some of the cases she covers that I watch that aren't even true crime, because she loves pop culture type stuff too. There's one particular case she's following that I'm following for fun. Okay. Let me get this up. This should be at the timestamp that we need it. Dolphin's awesome like that, and we got it. I think we got it set where we need to be. Okay, let me pull this screen up for you guys. And then after this, we're going to go into that new doc. And this is just Emily's take on that warrant situation. Come on now, it's showing I got strong signal. What in the hell? I think it's like a Streamlab, whatever the hell I'm using here.
Oh, Restream.
Their kind of top line argument yesterday, and I think their top line argument will continue to be, Your Honor, they only got to this because of the IGG data, and if the IGG is thrown out, then, well, none of these warrants are sufficient because they don't have sufficient cause to tie Bryan Kohberger back to the search warrants. She asked quite a lot about, did you provide the search warrant and affidavit to these providers, Google, whoever? They said no. Right, because you just send the search warrant to the company and say, company, you are commanded to give me, and then there's like a list. This shit. And it sounds like the first time Google came back and said, so what you've asked for is much, and we're not going to do all of that. So can we narrow this down? So we'll see the arguments today that are going to, I hope, focus beyond that DNA, because those arguments were yesterday, and we'll get into focusing on where they think the issues are with the warrants themselves, with the affidavits themselves, with the way that they were done. And again, it's not an issue with the warrant if more information is turned over by Google or Apple. That's not really the question here. The question is, did law enforcement follow the proper procedures for search and seizure? So let's continue.
Defense may proceed.
Into arguments. And then maybe we'll be done.
Judge,
One
I'm
can
going to
hope.
cover several of the warrants, and then Mr. Logston's going to cover 4. So I'll just wrap all of my argument
where
up
is he?
instead of getting up and down for.
Wait, where is Mr. Longston?
I had to leave that part up for a moment. It just cracked me up when I saw it. So according to her take, we are correct to assume they didn't need the affidavits attached to the warrant. And doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it just like you had brought up that such a good point that if they did turn over the affidavits, then these companies could see a lot of things, and things can get leaked, and things can be done. So we wanted to give you guys that perspective of that, because I know that there was talk about that. Let me pull up his comment. Welcome in, 12 Gauge. Hey V, how are you? Hey, Young Black Economist. I did watch a little bit of Andrea's part 1. Why is it not? But I should say, she didn't seem too impressed with the defense attorneys from the parts that I did view. She had some good points, but my takeaway from her is that, and it's not going to get this happening. It's not going to happen. But I could be wrong, but that's the way I looked at it. Yeah. Dolphin, I'll try to move those. I have to try to mess with this layout. Let me see. I should have done that before the video, but I didn't realize it was stuck on that layout. Okay, I'm still learning this platform.
Oh,
All right.
that's okay.
So now, yeah, I didn't like that either. I looked down, I was like, ooh, we're in the way. But what I'm going to do is I'll release that video that I made after we get done here. I'll upload it, and then you guys can go watch it freely and without us being in your way. And that way you can have it as well, and you can refer back to it if you need to ever to, get a refresher. It's always nice. Like I said, there's been so much with this case for over 2 years. There's a lot of things we reviewed, and a lot of things I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I have to go back and re-review and things like that. And that's one thing about people like Dolphin and Forensic and Firefly. We're like, hey, do you remember that? remember this when that happened, and when you have to kind of keep your timeline together because there's just been so darn much. Now, we know there was talk in the hearing about the unknown DNAs. And what there in the beginning, Anne had come out in a hearing because Anne loves to, be able to come out and doing her job. I'll give her that. But she's able to come out and put out reasonable doubt in her statements in court. We found 3 unknown male DNAs. Everybody went crazy. It was a house full of DNA. Where were the DNAs found? Kitchen, living room, bathroom, doorknob to the victim's bedroom, headboard to the victim's bedroom. Where were these samples taken from? And then again in court the other day, she mentioned 2, not 3. So it made me wonder, did she satisfy herself with that 3rd unknown male? Because there were 3 unknown males, and now she's talking about 2 unknown males. And so I had to wonder, what was that 3rd one? Was it not relevant enough to the crime scene to matter, even for her? Did they figure it out? Whatever. But for whatever reason, that 3rd one wasn't brought up, and that's my opinion, that it referred to those DNAs. And we now know that one of those was blood from the handrail. So again, Dolphin and I were wondering, how long can blood last? How is there a way to tell how old the blood is? Is it fresh droplet? Is it dried? Is there color? What do you go by if you've got a wooden banister? Is it all these things? So we were able to find an article. Dolphin was, and we're gonna pull that up and just take a look at it for a moment, because I love me some evidence and forensic stuff. Y'all know that. If you don't know it, you're gonna know it. You're gonna learn it, right, Dolphin? We like to know. All right, let's get this screen up there and we'll just give this a look at. Okay. I hope you guys can, that layout's going to get on my nerves. I hope I don't send us straight into another world here. Oh, I don't like this at all. I'm going to have to fix this. Okay, you guys can see the top. I'm going to read it. I've got to fix that before we documents, because we're not going to be able to see. Okay, I'll fix it in a minute. I'll let you guys talk amongst yourself while I play. All right. Determining bloodstain age using Raman spectroscopy. I can read big words, y'all, I promise. I just need better eyeglasses. A novel and non-destructive method of determining the age of evidentiary bloodstain using the Raman spectroscopy. Background: forensic investigators are members of law enforcement that help secure a crime scene and collect evidence. The evidence involves blood. The age of that blood is a critical piece of information investigators need to identify the precise time crime occurred. Bloodstain age is also known as time since deposition. Deposition, and presents a continued challenge for law enforcement because it is quite difficult to determine. Despite research efforts using a variety of different techniques, there is currently still no reliable or established method for estimating how long a blood stain was deposited. Oh, I hope we don't Google how's long to die in cold. Technology. You only get the experts Googling if you're in the Delphi trial. Okay, technology overview. The University at Albany Technology applies novel advanced statistics to output of Raman spectroscopy in order to identify blood fluid traces, such as blood at crime scenes. Raman spectroscopy is a tool that measures the intensity of scattered light that is produced by shining lasers on a sample, in this case, blood. Since no two compounds produce the same Raman spectrum, the measurements are unique, like fingerprint, and they can distinguish blood specimens from other types of body fluid. Further, this approach can also determine the age of the blood stain, whether it's hours, days, weeks, months, or years. Critically, this process is non-destructive, meaning the bloodstain sample is preserved for subsequent DNA analysis by law enforcement. Because is it going to be critical to know if we can know how long that bloodstain had been there? That matters. If they can determine something like that, it's going to make a big difference. Oh, that's like that was just deposited. That was like a month old.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I can't
Mhm.
wait to see, whether it was a drop and, or if this is something that was invisible to the naked eye and then
Yeah.
it, appeared after luminol spraying or whatever. I want to know some more details about this.
Exactly. And like you said, that there's the two stairs. Which set of stairs was this recovered from, in proximity to where our victims were in this case? But this technology, maybe it'll help, because there's a lot of they're even using some new methods over in another case I've been following that they should have used a long time ago. But anyway, it's a whole other story. But it's always interesting to me to learn about new technology. Now, how if there was ever an issue with this type of testing right here, they would have a Daubert hearing and things like that. But this seems to all be on the up and up. They probably use a lot. The technology offers numerous advantages over incumbent methods, including the following. It is a non-destructive method that preserves the original sample, and only a small blood sample is required. It can be used as a crime scene tool. The technology be used directly at the crime scene with a portable Raman spectroscopy unit. Ooh, I wonder if ISP or FBI has one. Outfitted with an automatic analysis feature. It can rapidly and accurately determine bloodstain age within its hours, days, weeks, and distinguish it from other body fluids. Isn't that interesting? It makes me wonder, did they bring one of those in there? Surely somebody in the ISP, or when I say that, people think I'm talking Indiana, Idaho State Police, or FBI would know about this type of stuff in their crime scene labs, right?
I would like to think that they brought
I
something
think
in
so.
advanced.
I know, right? It really. So, Forensic Frenzy, Jasmine, did you have a chance to look at that document before today? The
I
one that
did.
came down? Okay.
I did.
Dolphin's got a copy of it as well there. Now, this new defense filing, guys, is like an entire list of documents or exhibits they were going to use did use in their motion suppressing hearings and exhibits. There was a person brought up that they have an affidavit from, a Tom Slavinsky. And so Dolphin and I were like, well, who is this guy? So we went and found out who this guy was. We'll take a look at that real quick, because this is also, and he has to be a defense expert. And let me pull him up. And we'll see what he's about here. Let me get the screen back up. Okay. So this is from Cellular Forensics LLC, and Dolphin found this morning. We were up early. About the founder, Tom Slavinsky's background and experience comes from 36 years as a police officer, detective, private investigator, mobile forensic examiner, cell tower records expert, expert witness, and instructor. For over a decade and a half, Tom has dedicated his career to learning all he can about cell phones and cell towers and forensics behind each one. For the U.S. Department of State, Tom has had the unique privilege of training some of the world's most elite digital investigative units. Impressive. In the USA, Tom has worked on many high-profile cases ranging from serial killings to murders to home invasions to corporate spying. Additionally, Tom has privileged to work with some of the best digital forensic industry and has gleaned for the experience and education. Tom is a certified subject matter expert by ZX Corporation. He works for CyRay. Huh.
Mm-hmm. And
Right,
Cyray
Jazz?
is still in there. Yes, and Cyray is
Yeah.
still in there. So that does make me wonder about the information that we were given about Cyray being gone with the wind. So,
Well,
Mhm.
it lists his affidavit. You're correct. So does that mean he's still attached to the? Is he still
or
going to
are
be?
they just using his
beyond that?
information
Yeah, I
with a
don't.
different? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I'm waiting. I'm assuming if they're going to use anything he's done so far, he's probably still retained, unless he's like, you know
Well,
what, go ahead.
Well, once you pay that person for their information, they don't have to come in and attest to it. You can get a different expert and you can still use
Right.
that person's information that they gave to you. So I don't know but it just takes me back to, okay, so maybe he's not gone. I don't know.
Right. It's because Tom is a certified subject matter expert by ZX Corp, and that is CyRay's corporation. And we will. Okay, so he's, pretty impressive there. Let's see. Let's take a look at one more quick thing before we get into that deep dive on that document. Let's see.
Oh, did you also see that comment that I sent to you before about him being connected with SLED? And I was wondering, was he involved with the Murdaugh case?
CyRay was?
No, this
The
Slavinsky
other
guy.
guy.
Oh, he worked for SLED at some point, or
He's from South Carolina, it looks like.
Hmm.
'Cause he's got all kinds of credentials there at the bottom of, I think
Oh,
at
I
the
didn't
bottom of that
scroll
page.
down. Okay, okay,
Greenville,
good.
South Carolina police, and then
Wow.
licensed with SLED.
Oh, okay. That is super interesting. I'll have to go back and review some of those documents because I watched that whole trial.
I need to watch the whole thing.
Oh gosh, it was such an interesting trial.
Mhm.
The personality of Murdaugh. I mean, come on, dude. All right, let me pull this up. There's something to them psychopathic brains that just intrigue me. Okay, this is an article called "Who is CyRay?" Brian Koberger's defense team has hired a cell phone expert in an attempt to show that he couldn't have murdered 4 Idaho college students. I don't have my content warning up right this second, guys. I'm not going to switch it yet, but you all get it. Viewer discretion. We talk true crime. CyRay, founder of ZX Corporation, is a former police officer who specializes in analyzing cell phone data in criminal cases. He has been called as a witness in numerous critical trials in an attempt to show that a person's cell phone could have been in a particular area. His analysis relies on the pings that a cell phone sends to a nearby phone tower, even when the user is not making phone calls. Koberger, 29, has been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary in connection with stabbings, God dang, I can't read this morning, of Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Madison Mogan, 21, Xander Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. The bodies of the 4 Universities of Idaho students were found in an off-campus residence on November 13th. You keep smiling, buddy. Koberger has maintained his innocence in the case, previously standing silent during his arraignment. Judge John Judge, who is overseeing, now remember he was overseeing at the time, entered not guilty pleas for each of the charges against him in response. A defense document filed in court Wednesday states Koberger told his defense team he was out driving around in the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, as he often did to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, including Wawawi Park. And we have Mr. CyRay on the left and Koberger, of course, on the right. The document adds that CyRay will testify that cell tower records show that Koberger's mobile device was south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow on November 13th. Koberger's mobile device did not travel east on the Moscow-Pullman highway in the early morning hours of the 13th, thus could not have been the vehicle captured on the video. Anybody have a comment on the near the Floyd's cannabis shop? According to a profile on Meritalk, a news site that specializes in government technology contracts, Cyray spent 20 years in law enforcement, where he spent time as a SWAT operator, homicide sergeant, and directing fugitive missions. Some of his work has been featured on several episodes of 48 Hours, 2020, the Discovery Channel, Dateline, showcasing his investigative and technological expertise. Sy spent time in Afghanistan as a field advisor for an undercover team targeting improvised explosive devices. Does this mention where he was kept out of court before? He set up ZX in 2014 and has worked with both radio frequency and cell phone tower data. The company was purchased by LexeNexis in 2021. His accomplishments include engineering RF drone detection sensors by the NFL at the 2015 Super Bowl. Okay. Engineering RF tracking and security technology for law enforcement and military applications. He lives with his family on a ranch in southern Arizona, Joe, and co-hosts a true crime podcast called Socialite Crime Club. So he's a forensic cell phone data expert with a company, and he's a true crime buff. Now, I don't think this article mentions it, but we do have documentation where I can't recall what year. Jasmine, Dolphin, maybe you guys can, where there was the Colorado case where his application that he used was determined not reliable enough to present in court. I don't know what's changed at all since then, because remember, he used to testify for prosecutors.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think it was like 2012. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it's been
at least a decade.
Yeah.
So was that his CV, his curriculum vitae, where it either wasn't strong enough or was there false information on it? I mean, there's
the judge determined that he is in fact, so while he's an expert witness in many, many, many courts, this particular judge felt like he was not an expert witness, and that rather he was just kind of tacking expert onto his own name. And using the term a little bit loosely. So whereas the judge and the court actually want you to have actual expertise in that field, he basically said, if I developed this software, then is that not enough expertise in my field? And whereas many, many, many judges have agreed that, yes, it clearly is, this particular judge didn't like that.
Right. Plus, the other thing that the judge didn't like was his work and his software wasn't peer reviewed.
Yes.
He wouldn't share his coding and whatnot, behind it, and others in the community, kind of questioned him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it has to be peer reviewed stuff, and this article's not going to let me pull that one up because it's want me to pay. But yeah, they just gave you the good backstory there.
There is a really good article from the IEEE on ZX, and it explains very much, more or less, that they don't use ZX and why. That the FBI doesn't use ZX and why, and it didn't go against the things that the judge stated in that instance, where he did refuse Cyray. It went along with those things. So the IEEE also doesn't use ZX, and they find it to be very not reliable.
So it'd be interesting to see what all's changed in his technological world since that stuff has happened compared to now. Any improvements? Why did he suddenly, stop testifying for prosecutions and now for the defense? And they're going to you read that you heard me read the article how they were going, they did say that we're going to use the state's evidence to prove our guy was over here and not over here. What if that phone got turned off and left somewhere on purpose? Now that phone is stationary right here, over here by the park. I don't know. Who knows? It's going to be some interesting testimony when it comes to this phone stuff, and to see what type of experts the prosecution has to bring up to not debunk, but to go up against what their experts have to say. I love to see the experts come into court for both sides, and I'm going to follow the one I feel is the smartest or explains it the best. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay, okay, we did those. All right. So I'm going to pull up that document now, and we're going to start taking a look at what was in that. Oh, I know what I did. I saved it because I didn't want to have to go scrolling through that thing. All right, let me get the screen going up here. Make this where I can see it. Okay. Boy, everybody left this house today to go to the beach because it's a beautiful day, and it is so quiet here. It's not. It is nice. My
It's pretty
grandson,
sunny here too.
is it good after that little rain we have? My grandson had a friend over all weekend, so it's like, yes, take them kids onto the beach. Let me see if I can change this layout, guys. I am so sorry. Let me figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got it the other day. There you go.
That show, I see Forensic Frenzy Giant, but do you see the?
The three
Y'all,
of us are over to the side. I don't know how you get her over there, but
let me see.
I don't know anything about Restream.
Me either. Let me try a different scene. Why is it not letting me?
You may have to do the new layout after you share your media. Like you may have to share it first and then click your layout, like immediately after.
Okay, I'll try that. Because this gives you different scenes to click on, and I'm clicking on them, and this is the only one that brings up the damn document. And I don't know why it's got, oh, wait a minute.
There you go.
Oh, well, yeah, that works too.
The other day we were on the left, though, not the right. But
Yeah.
Restream, you're a freak, man. Okay, calm yourself. Take a gummy or something. Shit. All right. Okay, so this is the new filing, and it is State of Idaho, of course, versus Brian Kohberger. Notice of filing, list of stipulated exhibits for motions to suppress and motion for Frank's hearing.
It is freezing.
Okay, can you guys see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have to get close. Oh, let me put on them other glasses. That might help. Sorry. I promise I'm making an eye appointment this week. I'm tired of messing around with these crazy readers. Okay. So let me go back up here. Comes now Brian C. Kohberger by and through his attorneys of record and with stipulation of the state hereby file list of all exhibits admitted by stipulation during the various motions to suppress and motion for Frank's hearing held on the 23rd and 24th. And hopefully we'll get those transcripts this week as well from the closed hearing, because we're definitely going to do a review of that. So what she's done is they have a list of the exhibits, a description, and what pleading they will be using the motions in, or the exhibits in, versus whether it's the Frank's hearing or one of the motion hearings. So all that's there. So we'll start here. So this would be used for all of these we're about to look over, would be used for the Frank's hearing. Boy, she's got a lot of stuff she wants to look at, right? For her Frank's hearing. First, Exhibit D1, because when we're in court, we keep hearing exhibit this, exhibit that. Well, here's some of the, now we know what some of those exhibits were. So D1 was email communications between Detective Payne, FBI Agent Valance, and Latah County prosecutor. So Ann got her wish to get those email communications from the FBI. If she didn't, that wouldn't even be on there. Defendant Exhibit D1B, email with additional PC attachment from FBI agent Nicholas Valance to Brett Payne. Nick Valance is the FBI's guy in the cell phone data. He's the one who testified in Lori and Chad Daybell's cases in Idaho. And he Defendant Exhibit D1C, email with working draft for each warrant for AT&T from Brett Payne to the FBI agent Nicholas Valance. See, she's even got the email with the draft search. I guess that's what all these things she was wanting to look for anything improper or, the I wasn't dotted type of thing. Defendant's Exhibit D2, Exhibit A, statement of Dustin Blaker, affidavit presented to a judge in Washington. So they're going to take a look at Blaker's statements to that judge, or the affidavit rather, to make sure that warrant that was served over in Washington was on the up and up. Defendant's Exhibit D3-A, affidavit for search warrant to Google on January 3rd, 23 warrant. Now, remember, Ann talked about those Google warrants, and that's Emily touched on it a minute ago when we were reviewing that piece that she did. And that was the search for Brian. Defendant's Exhibit D3B, affidavit in support of arrest. D4A is transcript from 5/23/24 motion to compel at 2:38 p.m. They want a transcript. Was there a court hearing that day? On the 23rd? When was the, because we didn't get our preliminary hearing. Remember, where they popped off with that grand jury instead. So she's getting a transcript of a motion to compel. Defendant's Exhibit D4-B, transcript 5/30/24 motion to compel at 10 a.m. She even got the times down. And it's like, I'm not playing with y'all. Defendant Exhibit cast report, draft and report. So she got both, and I hope all the naysayers see she did actually get a cast report and not just a draft. It would not specify the difference. D7-A, the affidavit of Tom Slavinsky, and that's the guy we reviewed a few minutes ago that we know works with Mr. Cyray here. Again, the affidavit of Cyray is included. Officer Noon's transcript and summary. Officer Noon was one of the first responders. Detective Mowry, transcript and summary. Detective Gooch, I don't know which one he is, transcript and summary. Emails with vehicle identification expert. So she got those emails as well. Affidavit in support of of search warrant for the UPS. We discussed that UPS recently, didn't we? Or was that you and I, Nina? So about because it's right by the bank, the Umpqua Bank, I think it is. And, I don't know. Why are they wanting a UPS warrant? Was it for video from the truck or something?
Yeah, it was.
Right?
In the warrant that they specifically said videos.
Videos
on the trucks. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this, because this is what I was wondering. How early are these guys? I wonder, because it doesn't say a date. Does it say a date in the search warrant? Because I wonder, was this for? Were they trying to look at footage from that morning? They're not out delivering at 3 a.m.
No, if I recall, the the date range was, I know it was up to, I think, like 1 day after the murders, and I want to say it was like maybe a week, like maybe 6 or 7 days
Which warrant are we
around
talking about?
You know
UPS.
what? The UPS, you know what that might be?
Yes, it was
That-
from the 6th until the 14th.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Could that,
So
from,
8
I'm sorry,
days.
it was from when?
The 6th of November to the 14th.
I wonder if that's UPS delivering your Amazon order to your
Right.
door.
That's what I think
Oh,
too.
hell. Okay.
I've suggested to
Wait a
Steve
minute.
that perhaps the Amazon did deliver to the house sometime in the week before the murders, and
No, I'm not,
perhaps
I
it
meant,
was taken from the house. There's also a package of Kaylee's that is missing, and I believe they may have been delivered on the same day.
oh, I was thinking UPS to his apartment.
No, it's for
No.
King Road
Oh, it was for
That
King Road? Okay.
area.
Do you
Mhm.
think somebody was going up and just porch pirating her stuff?
I would assume that if they were delivered on the same day, they just took her package with the Amazon package.
Yeah. That's crazy. I wonder what that'll be interesting. And that's in the defense exhibit. What were they looking for in that warrant if it was for King Road? That's
It was
that's
all
ugh.
it was all truck video in Moscow for that entire week.
Okay, because that's oh, they want to capture him moving around town close to the house if they can. Better
Yeah, that
image
was
of the
another
car.
thing. Mhm.
I'm gonna assume that from the Amazon warrant and the Amazon information that they might know when it would have been approximately delivered, and that's why they sought out that week. I would imagine that if you were going to murder people with this weapon and you bought it that close to the time of the murder, that you would not have it delivered to your own house. So it makes sense that it was delivered somewhere in Moscow. My guess is going to be that it was extremely sinister and it may have been to these girls' house.
Damn.
Wow. Let me look at chat real quick. What are you guys thinking so far? Firefly, you said why. What were you talking about, hun? Because I was reading and I wasn't paying attention to the chat, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so communications. I don't know what IM is. Do you guys?
Instant messaging.
Ah, thank you. Bolo, be on the lookout. Supplemental report 52 by Brett Payne, RE test runs. That intrigued me. What test runs did Brett Payne perform and on what?
Would that have been? No, he wouldn't have done drive testing. Would he?
That would have been Nick. Nick Balance would have done that. Now
Supplemental
unless they have their, maybe they did, but from my understanding, and when I watched Nick testify over in Daybells, he explains the entire drive test process, and there's an instrument they put in the car and use, and all these things. So Nick is the one who would have performed that unless he gave them the equipment they needed, but it has to be calibrated properly. There was a whole thing he went into in the chat.
Right.
Yeah.
So then what if this is Payne driving the route that they think that, he went and like testing
Performing
out the
his own
timing
test.
and
Right.
whatnot? Mhm.
Right. That was also something I thought about as well. So very well could be part of it. And then we move on to what they wanted. Oh gosh, they've been fighting to get this stuff, and they got it. Sealed transcript of the grand jury hearing 5/15/23, and another transcript from the grand jury on 5/16. Now remember, those of all of us who have followed the case, we were supposed to have our big preliminary hearing in June of 23, and then the next thing we know, nope, that's gone, canceled. We got us. Everybody calls it the secret, but they're always secret. We have the grand jury, and so Anne really wanted to get the information out of that grand jury testimonies and all that, and she got what she got. She did get some of that stuff. So, another defendant exhibit, supplemental report 152 by Officer Gunderson, R.E. the dog. That would be Murphy. Now, this next one will prove to everybody once and for all that they do have Murphy on video. Screen clip from Officer Noon's body cam video of the dog upon arrival. So that would mean they have video from the moment Noon, at least, if that's how I'm pronouncing it correctly, came in and found Murphy.
Nunez.
Nunez. Okay, thank
Yep,
you.
and I think that it's important. That's why it's in the PCA, and she made a point of it, and it's interesting. And I'm wondering if when she brings that up, so her goal here is to create reasonable doubt. She doesn't have to point this at one person, and the best idea is to simply say this could have been a number of people, and that's why you should not believe that it had to be Brian Koberger. Okay,
Exactly.
so I think what she's going for there is the dog didn't bark until the white car left. They're relating the white car to my client. So even if that had been my client, which it wasn't, even if it had been, he would have been gone by then. The dog starts barking right before he takes off, and then it continues to bark. So does law enforcement have the wrong time for these murders? And does that mean that someone else was involved? And since the dog eventually stops barking as if he's been soothed or calmed down or found someone that he trusts, and the dog was found the next morning with 0 DNA on him, then might you insinuate that maybe someone came along who loved the dog, who the dog trusted, and removed the dog from the home? But then
Well-
later realized, oh, the dog has to be there because Dylan's going to say she heard the dog barking. So before law enforcement arrives, they return with the dog and they leave the dog in the house. So I'm wondering if she's going for Jack Decor with that line of thought.
I don't know, because even if somebody say it's Brian and somebody went in with him that knew the dog and trusted, the dog wouldn't need to be removed from the scene. If the dog knew and trusted one of the people perpetrators in the home, I don't even know if there would be a need to remove the dog, period, because my dog is going to Murphy is going to listen to Jack and Kaylee.
I don't
My
think it
dog
was
is-
a need. I don't think it
Mhm.
was a need to remove the dog. I think she's going to go for this person loves the dog and cares about the dog, and they
Yeah.
didn't want the dog to
They
be in
didn't
that
harm it.
environment crying in
Yeah.
that way. So they removed the dog for the dog's sake.
Yeah,
And
it's
the only person who would do such a thing is going to be the dog's other parent. So I think that's
Yeah.
why I'm assuming she's coming for Jack Decor with that line of thinking.
Yeah, because it's interesting, like everybody's wondering why didn't the dog have anything on him. In my mind, he had to have been shut in Kaylee's room the entire time with the door shut, because even if he wasn't a protector dog, after everything got quiet and he had a way out, he's going to find Kaylee. He's going to jump on that bed automatically and
Well, my
Check her
fiance
out.
and I did work through that, and we talked for a while about it. The dog was about 11 months old, I think, at the time that this happened.
Yeah, definitely less than a year.
At that point, my dog was very limited in where he would go throughout my house. There were rooms that he would not go into, even when he was accompanied by someone else, because he was just still a puppy. But also, we wondered if maybe the dog did go in, take a look, and know that something was wrong, and became very fearful and left. If the dog just walked into the room and could tell that there was something wrong, maybe he became fearful and left. Maybe the blood really is limited to the walls and the bed in Maddie's room, and maybe without the dog actually brushing against a wall or actually physically climbing on the bed and the bodies, then maybe the dog would be able to take a look, know something is wrong, and still come out with no DNA on him. There are ways that could logically happen. And once the dog knows that you're deceased in there, does the puppy then become so terrified that it doesn't return? Because I can understand how that might happen. That doesn't really seem to be quite such a mystery. Not to me.
What about the dog not whining then in that scenario afterwards?
So I would assume that the dog did for 30 minutes. And then I'm going to assume that the dog knew. No one was coming.
Wait, okay. You assume it did for 30 minutes.
Because that's what was said in the court hearing.
Well, they said barking, not whining.
Well, carrying on regardless.
Is that what she's picking up on the 50 feet camera, that she hears this dog barking for 30 solid minutes and they're sure it's Murphy?
Well, the 50-foot camera was whimpers and a thud,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
The 50-foot camera also had barking.
Also had
And
a
it started
bark.
at 4:17.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, can they tell that's the same dog? If that dog barked a solid half hour, he was locked up in Kaylee's room and knew absolutely something was wrong and was trying
That's
to get
what
to
I'm
her.
thinking.
Because
Mhm.
I'm telling you, as a lifelong, damn near 60-year-old woman who has raised dogs, scared or not, once things go quiet, they're going to go look for that owner.
Right. But I'm not saying that the dog wouldn't have. I am debating
Yeah.
that it means that the dog would have jumped on the bed and gotten covered in DNA and evidence. I'm debating that part. I'm not debating that the dog might go take a look. I am debating that
I
when the
think it
dog
would have, because the
realizes
dog's
there's
going to
something
walk.
wrong,
The dog is.
that he has to become engulfed in evidence and DNA and blood.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
see
that's
that part having to be a thing.
Well, I in my mind, if those doors are open and that dog walked in that room where Kaylee and Maddie were, he's going to walk up to that bed and smell them. He's going to get blood on his paws. He's not going to just peek in the door and go, "Oh no, I'm not going in there." He's going to go check on her and then walk around, do whatever he does. The fact that he didn't
I
have
don't
any
think it's necessarily going to work out quite that way. And the only reason why I think that is because I did discuss this heavily. And even if the dog was locked up, what we're being told by Ann Taylor is that upon arrival, Officer Nunez body camera catches the dog and the door is open. Even in the 3 or 4 or 5, however many seconds or minutes that the door was open before Officer Nunez camera caught that,
Yes.
why didn't the dog become covered in evidence at that time?
Maybe
Because the dog had no
there
interest
was
in going
people,
in there, it sounds like.
because it sounds like to me, and this is just my opinion, honestly, if there was a way for him to get to Kaylee, he would have. I don't think there was a way. So the next morning, when everything began to happen, did one of the friends open Kaylee's door? There's Murphy. And then they
Right.
shut the door back.
Right, but when the
Let's just
officers
leave
arrived,
Murphy
the
in
door
there.
is open.
I know, but what I don't know when the door became open.
But even if
Right.
it was only open for 1 minute, I would assume that the first thing the dog would do was go look for Kaylee and become
Not if they were a
covered in
house
the
full of strangers, though. You got a house full of strangers, the dog's nervous, he's staying back a minute, he don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's an odd thing with the dog. The whole thing with the dog is odd, not having any evidence on him. If he was able to, I just have a hard time believing that if that dog could get to them, he wouldn't have at least went up and smelled. Maybe not have jumped right up on the bed with them, but to try to get someone's attention. No matter how young, 11 months, he's almost a year old. He loved those girls, and I get he's not a pit bull like I would raise, but I know dogs. I know dogs 101, and I just find it hard to believe that if he had access to get in there, that he wouldn't have gotten in there. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. But
You know what?
I appreciate your opinion as well. Go ahead, Dolphin.
I think, well, like we all know, Anne had to, she has to get certain little, like, toss little crumbs out there when she can, in this case, since everything is
Mhm.
gagged, right? I think that this is just, I don't know, kind of like a ploy to make it seem like something that it's not,
Yeah.
that it wasn't. I think that the dog was closed in the room all night long, okay? And I think that what we're going to end up finding out is that, and you haven't mentioned this yet, but the story of, the roommates contacting Hunter Johnson
Mhm.
and him coming over because he needed to get in, they needed to open the door in Xana's room or whatever. Because to me, what Anne said was all the doors in the house were open, like the rooms, they were all open,
Yes.
right? That's what she just said in court. But I'm like, no, wait a minute, because supposedly that's why they needed him to come over, was to open this door downstairs in Xana's room. I think the dog was behind the door, closed in the room all night long. That explains how he stays clean, all night long. I think that whichever way that went down, of them quote unquote discovering what happened, right? In the morning, afternoon, whatever. I think that maybe they went upstairs and checked on Kaylee and Maddie because they know, hey, two other people are in the house, or somebody did, because there's all these people there. The video that you showed the other day, there's like a whole gang of people sitting on the ground with blankets wrapped around them. So I think a lot of these people had been in and out of the house. I think they opened the doors, and with all of the commotion, if the girls, Dylan and Bethany, were frantic, crying, screaming, whatever, I think, and all these people in the house again, with all of that kind of commotion, I think that that's probably why, in those few minutes that it took law enforcement to get there, that Murphy probably stayed where he was, because he didn't know what was going on. And then the police officer Nunez gets to the scene with his body cam, goes through, because you'll see from his perspective other things have happened right before he got on the scene. And I think that one of those other things is these doors were opened. So on his body cam, yes, it shows that the doors are open or whatever,
think
but I don't think
that
that they were all night.
I think that this is the one time that I definitely believe Ann Taylor. See, I think
Mhm.
quite differently. The doors were wide open. The dog did not go in there, and she's just trying to create a stink about it. The dog was always a mystery from the beginning. They said that the dog was in the house, that he was in another room where the attacks did not occur, and they would never answer if the dog was shut in or not. They would never tell you who the dog was in the room with, because the dog was in the room alone and he was not shut in, and there really is something weird about it. I think that Ann Taylor let you know very much that the doors were wide open, because that's the answer to how this happened, the 911 call. The girls came out their room that morning and they actually could see what was going on, and one of them really did freak out and probably go running out the house. I think that it actually tied back into a lot of the information that many of us dismissed at the beginning. So I think that this time I just believe her. The dog was there. The door was wide open. Everyone in the house should have heard the dog carrying on for at least 30 minutes afterward.
Mhm.
After that, the house would have gone silent and nobody went to check, including the dog.
There's
That's
still a
what it sounds
contradiction
like
in
to
what
me.
you just said. I mean, I see where you're going with it. There's still a contradiction with it. You know what it is? It's the fact that Christy said that Hunter Johnson told her XYZ. This is how I ended up over there. This is, these are the circumstances. So it's like, so wait, so which is it?
So does that take you back to they thought that they heard the guys in the house the night before, and then they called over and were like, "Were you guys here last night?" And then people started showing up. Does that not like
No, I
remind
don't
you
know what you're
of just
talking about they thought they heard guys in the house or whatever.
yeah,
What
so
we
that was the thing when we all were hearing that basically like the roommates heard and saw things, but at the time like we didn't know what they heard and saw. That was a part of that whole rumor that they actually had assumed that what they heard was just frat guys in the house, and that there may have been like some kind of fight that carried
That
over
still
into the
doesn't
house.
tie into, so that's
Mhm.
rumor, right? That doesn't tie into what Salty, you don't mind if I mention other creators,
No,
do you?
you're good. Y'all
It
go right ahead.
it doesn't tie in with what Drunk Turkey Show said, because remember Drunk Turkey Show said a long time ago, I've spoken to Christy. I did an interview with her,
Yep,
and
I've
he was
seen
going
the
to
interview.
let everybody know, we thought we were going to be watching the interview, but then he
Yep.
came back and just paraphrased what happened. So, and they basically, it was stated that he got this directly from Christy, that Hunter came over because what was it? I think an alarm or something was going off in Xana's room or something. For some reason, Bethany and Dylan were trying to get into Xana's room or whatever, and they couldn't open the door. And then they called Hunter Johnson over because he's right next door at his girlfriend's house. And then he comes over to help them open the
Mhm.
door to Xana's room. And then that's when they find out what happened.
Yeah.
So that at that point, that's
Yes.
supposed to have been when everybody, learns what happened, you
He
know.
Okay. Now, do you guys also recall when Steve came out on national television? I believe it was in a news interview, and stated that one of the roommates actually did have an anxiety attack and ran out of the house,
Yeah.
and that's how Hunter Johnson got involved. So there's conflict of
No,
information
he
regarding.
said that what
Yeah, not to the point
he
that that's how
no,
Hunter
yeah,
got involved.
he said that she did run out of the house hyperventilating, and I have a picture that I cannot find on one of my phones it was scrubbed a long, long time ago, but it shows a couple of kids in the backyard, a police officer standing back there, a tall blonde is doubled over. We heard that one was hyperventilating and one passed out, but we also did hear Dolphin's right when, according to Christy Gonzalez, and maybe you can clarify, but
And
she
didn't she
stated
call into Drunk Turkey
she
Show
did,
to
and the interview,
validate him, what he was
yes,
saying? Because his audience, his members weren't
were
believing what he was saying because we hadn't
exactly
seen her. And
right.
then she comes and
She
says,
did a
yes,
little
I've talked
video.
to him.
She
Yeah,
came out
that's
and did
right.
a little video and said that was me on the phone call with it. We all heard the phone call interview. I heard it. And she said they could not get that door open. And the
I
roommate,
understand that, you
yeah,
guys. I hope that you're not trying to convince me that that really happened, because I'm not debating that it did. I'm just hoping that you guys understand that what I'm telling you is from that Kaylee's other parent. I got a starkly different story.
Okay, I'm just
And
talking
that's
about,
not the
I'm not
first
trying to
time that,
that's
convince
what I'm
anybody of
trying to
but that's
anything.
figure
also
out.
not the
Yeah.
first time that that's
Conflict.
happened, because
Mhm.
Steve told me that the roommate who was at the local business with Kaylee when she was followed around was Bethany.
Mhm.
But Christy told the drunk turkey that that roommate was Dylan. So that's not the first time that Kaylee's two parents have had conflicting information,
Okay, well,
which
that's
is
what
why
I'm
none of it means anything to me.
right. I try to base what we can out of court documents, but I
Yeah.
also have listened to all of the family interviews, and I know there's a lot said about these families in their interviews, but we all know how Christy and Steve are. You got to learn them and learn how to take what they're saying. And if they're not, if especially the same creator. So if they could just kind of clarify for us, that would be appreciated if they're able to. But from what we do understand, that door was shut. So, but I agree
Okay,
with
what
Dolphin. Are there
what I
times
do want
that
to point out is that I did seek clarity for both
Mhm.
of those things. I just
Yeah,
got a different story.
right,
So what I'm providing to you is what I was provided as clarity.
right. Okay.
So
Well,
when
that's
I
fine.
went back and said, "Hey, I heard that Bethany," or I'm sorry, I actually said, "Hey, I heard that, uh, this roommate," and then I was actually told, "No, that's incorrect. I believe it was this roommate." So I am reaching out for clarity, you guys. And when I reach out for clarification, I'm not getting the same information. That's what I'm trying to explain here, and
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
why
no,
I
I
said for me
understand
it's a
that.
wash.
I appreciate that because that helps me get there a little better now seeing, because when people are trying to give us information and we don't really know where it came from, it can be a little conflicting or even hard to understand. So I appreciate you trying to explain that. I know a lot of folks don't want to read into a lot of what the parents say. Some want to read everything into it. I'm down the middle with them. I know to take it all with a grain of salt, but we'll have to. I don't know. If all the doors were open, then it makes sense for her to run outside and start hyperventilating, and that gets. We do. I did. I did hear when she ran out that door, there was already somebody coming out that morning to get into their car. They had to leave early. And that's when they noticed something was going on over there. So who called Hunter and how he got over there, I don't know. But we all do know that he was there, and that was Ethan's brother. Before I forget and we move on to the rest of this document, thank you, Forrest Nelson, for gifting up 5 more memberships. Warning
Wow,
label
that's
Nina.
awesome.
Yeah, Nina, 12 gauge, Rachel, the Royal We, the guys. I think there was another one. Maybe not. And so welcome all new members. Welcome to anybody who has subbed up, because I really appreciate it. I'm new to all that, and I do need to ask you to hit the like button if you don't mind. Okay, so let's get back over here to the document for a second. So she got her grand jury stuff. They have the dog footage. Return on warrant, but doesn't specify which warrant that is. D17, AT&T records provided pursuant to the search warrant, Celebrite report, and all this is still for Frank's hearing stuff. She's got a lot to talk about in that Frank's hearing, doesn't she? Department of Justice interim policy. She's going to try to go after. Yep, exactly. And then that's what you would normally expect from a defense attorney, though, honestly. Defendant's Exhibit D20, a letter from Latah County Prosecuting Attorney dated 6/24/24 to Othram regarding databases searched. Isn't that interesting? What databases? Are we just talking CODIS? Are we talking GEDmatch? Are there others that you weren't supposed to look at? So if they have you think they would put the ones they weren't supposed to look at on their list? I don't know. D21, transcript from motion to compel hearing, again on the 5:30. There's something in those transcripts she's going to try to call the prosecution out on. Defendant's Exhibit D22, shoe print outside of Dylan Mortenson's room. God lordy, that latent shoe print. V, I saw your comment, hun. Don't know how the latent print got there. So we have a couple of theories. Some are he was never in the house and was cleaned, except for the rooms the victims were in, I suppose. Did this person, if there was a lot of evidence just contained to the bedrooms, and things are happening pretty quickly, you may not be taking too many steps. You're kind of confined. Do you lightly step in something and then lightly deposit it and then dry it over those 8 hours? And that's is that the only one in the home, or is that just the most visible one once luminol was used to try to reveal shoe impression, to match it somehow, and to get a size? Was that the best, or the best quality one? I don't know. To me, I want to know which way was that shoe print facing, toward Dylan's door, coming out of Dylan's door, up or down the stairs, or toward the kitchen. That's important to me. I'm a weirdo. If it was coming out of Dylan's room, I got issues. I'm just taking a look at chat real quick, guys. Oops, hit the wrong screen. It's so bizarre for forensic. Oh, she's not spreading false information, and the Garrett discovery really wasn't false, and it hasn't been proven wrong, but it hasn't been proven right either. I found the Garrett discovery stuff super interesting because it did come out a long time ago. That just got zapped? It's okay. You could have left it. I can address things. When they sent it to Othram in the other lab in Washington, it didn't come back to no one in the system. So Texas lab. It went from Othram. It went from the state lab in Idaho to Othram, And then from there, we're told FBI, but according to Ann in court, it went to somebody in between. So, but you got two separate places listed there, Washington and Texas. All right, so, and then they have,
If you want to just,
go ahead.
I want to bring up a screen. If you want to just for like 30 seconds,
No, you're
I'm just
good.
going to
You're
play
good.
a
Let
clip.
me,
If you want to pop it up.
that's fine. Yeah, let me do that. Let me get you up here. Whoops. If I hit the right button, we'll be doing good. Let me. This has got to get out of my way so I can see. Oh, here we go. This button. And it's this one. Okay, so you want to set this up for us?
This is, yeah. So the comment that you just read,
Mm-hmm.
this is my response for the comment, okay? This was November 16th, 2022, within 72 hours of the murders occurring,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
I shared my tab audio, so let me know if you guys can hear this. If not, I'll try to fix it,
Okay.
okay?
Chief, have you looked into the social media accounts of all the different victims, and we understand that one may have had an account linked to her accounts. Have you seen any sort of threats made to any of the individuals?
So
Could you guys hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, we can hear it, hun.
Okay.
all resources, we got, like I said, the Federal Bureau of Investigation helping us. We got our detectives, our forensic detectives looking into that. We're trying to pull this whole picture. We're looking at everything that we can look at, social media, etc. So to answer your question, yes, we are.
So long before Andrew Garrett said that, or anyone else, someone had already said that. And all Andrew Garrett is saying is that the man they're referring to from the account is Brian Koberger.
Have you looked into the social media accounts of all the different victims, and we understand her Instagram account. Have you looked into those accounts? Have you seen any sort of threats made to any of the individuals?
So we are looking at all resources. We got, like I said, the Federal Bureau of Investigation helping us. We got our detectives, our forensic detectives looking into that. We're trying to pull this whole picture. We're looking at everything that we can look at, social media, etc.
So that was just for everyone to have a look at, because I think that people assume that Mr. Garrett just like made this thing up to fit this narrative that they were being stalked, like online or whatever, or that they had this connection online. But the connection has been there since before we even knew who the person was.
Yeah, and I want to also,
since before law enforcement.
yeah, and I also want to say, before you did your piece on Garrett Discovery and had him on as a guest, that Garrett Discovery had been out there for quite a while. A lot of us saw it a
very
long time ago, very early on during this investigation. And a bunch, of course, there were a bunch of people who just, automatically went to bat against it and this and that. But then I was kind of like really intrigued when you got that interview. I was like, damn, go girl. Like, I really wanted to, I want to be fair and be open-minded, you know what I mean? And I wanted to hear what he had to say. I'm no expert, but I appreciated what he had to say, and we'll see what comes of it in court. Now we're going to, in this document, and I found something worded really odd to me, and I'll point it out when it comes up, because it goes into, it aligns with a statement she made in court. And like Dolphin was saying earlier, it appears a lot of the things Ann is saying and doing is to throw reasonable doubt out there, whether there's anything to it or not. You know what I mean? She's going to do what she has to do. Let me pull this document back up, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. Again, thanks for joining everybody, and welcome to all the new members. We are going to be, I'm still putting together our first members only stream. It's going to be a deeper dive into Rex Hurman, a suggestion by a member going, so we need to get to that. All right. Celebrate stuff. Back down here. Sorry.
You can
Okay.
Get rid of those thumbnails on the left side. That'll make the
How?
screen
I've
wider.
tried, dude. Tell me. You know I'm illiterate at this stuff.
What are these little icons on the left? It's been a minute since I've looked at the reader.
There
you go.
Look at
Yeah.
that doll. All I had to do was click a damn button. I love her. She's my tech person. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Now you
She's
can
like,
increase the zoom percentage a little bit.
yes. Okay. See why I love her.
There you
All
go.
right. So we're going to go back up here. So then they got the Celebrite report, the interim policy from the Justice Department, and the motion to compel stuff. Right here was the shoe print. I saw some good comments. You guys are having a good conversation about the shoe print over there. Now this is D23 transcript. We in Firefly, remember this AV00088 file? Well, it was Dylan Mortensen's interview. we would sit in Discord for hours trying to figure out what some of these damn exhibits were, knowing we weren't going to be able to figure it out. We almost got there a couple times. And then we had some attorneys on Twitter tell us, yeah, we think that's an audio or, video file. So anyway, it was. So shout out to all those who were correct. But it's a transcript of the file of Mortensen's interview from 12/30/22. Now they highlight a couple of dates on her interviews, and Dolphin and I were wondering, well, of course, sure they had to interview her more than 2 to 3 times. Sure, it was multiple times. So why is Anne honing in on particular ones? Was there something said in the interview with is that where she makes the statement, oh, I thought I could have been dreaming, didn't know if it was real? Things that may help her make the witness look bad, which is kind of what you do. So anyway, she's got that, and the shoe print, the audio file, the video, whatever it was. Order on defendants' 4th and 5th motions to compel discovery, unredacted. And then there was a lab report 28, report 29, report 30. It doesn't specify on what those were. D26 was sealed letters between Latah County prosecuting attorneys and the FBI. Look, I guess her TUI request and sealed letter dated 11/28 from the FBI to the prosecuting attorney. There again, Syray cases, messaging with pain. Now here's the ones I found very interesting. Remember when Anne?
That's also Slavinsky, by the way, next to Ray CV. That's what I was telling you about earlier.
Oh, that is it, isn't it? Okay, you're right. I'm wearing my cheap ass readers, y'all. Bear with me. Okay, so when Anne stood up in court and said there's no known connection, and then I saw this language and I thought, remember when they did the search of the apartment, they found some hairs and fiber. They were going to test them, of course, hopefully. Lab report from 1/27/23, FBI, fibers, hair, no connection. Lab report on February 28th of 23, FBI, fiber, hair, no connection. No connection to what? The victims and the dog? Okay, but that don't mean he didn't do something. Was that where she got her no connection? I don't.
If she used the word nexus, I'd be having Delphi PTSD right now,
dude.
Because that's basically the same word. She's saying there's no nexus.
Well, there's no connection between the fibers that were found in his apartment and the victims.
Right. Nexus is a bigger, broader word. I understand that.
Yeah. So
similar concept.
Was there a nexus if he wouldn't had vegan lunch at the Greek cafe, Mad Greek? I don't know. Is there a nexus if you ride around the hum behind Wellington Drive looking around? I don't know. It's got to be on paper. Like I'm being sorry, I'm being a smarty pants right now. Not to you, just in my head, and it came out loud. um, the biology analysis notes photos negative blood. Do you think that means that blood's the swatch that came from the apartment off the pillow that was field tested, presumably for blood? Do you think that means it was negative for blood? Do you think that's talking about that evidence? That's, I don't know. D34 DNA 12323. And then we have ISP forensics. And then again, here we have another interview with Dylan Mortensen from 11/17, which was just a couple of days after the murders. And then another interview. Now, these were the states. Now, earlier it said defendants. So that was going to be the defendants, I guess, when they deposed her, which that's probably what that is. Their deposition of her. Is it going to contradict anything she told the state in their exhibit? So states 1 and 2 is interviews with Dylan Mortensen from January 17th and then again on December 1st. So I had to wonder that, since one's a defense exhibit and the other two are states, or is she going to show some sort of contradiction there, or try to? What do you guys think? FBI SA, it looks like Hill to me, but I know it's got more letters. Hilly report regarding video surveillance. I'm assuming that's the FBI surveillance done in Pennsylvania, unless it's them following him across country. Screenshot from Mitch Nunez body camera on 11/13 at 12:04:55. So is that what time he made entry into that home? It's got to be what time. Not the perpetrator. I mean,
I think I would assume that he went. So the call goes out at 11:58, and they get there around noon. He's asking the kids
Yep.
out front, what's going on. They tell him to go inside. He goes inside. He finds Xana and
Yeah.
Ethan on the second floor, and then I would assume that by 12:04, he's made it to the third floor and seen the dog and found Maddie and Kaylee. So I think
Yeah.
that.
I'm assuming 12.
Yeah, so I think you'll see a few minutes before 12:04 on the body
Yeah.
cam where he's downstairs. He's finding Ethan and Xana.
Yeah. ISP forensic biology report 33 dated 5/23. Let me check chat real quick, guys, here. Anne just 100% confirmed in court last week. How did she confirm it? They haven't went to trial yet. She's telling us there's none, hun. I get that. I do get it. But
And the judge is also pointing out, and so did Jeff Nye, I understand that the defense is asserting that there's no connection.
Yeah.
An assertion is your belief of fact. An assertion is not the actual fact, although it can be. She can be the one correct. But at this point, everyone is calling it an assertion.
well, you have to. Okay. So I take all these filings not just because they're defense attorneys, because trust me, I saw Delphi and Idaho completely damn well different. What I know happened in Delphi, I don't see happening over here. So I'm not even going to compare the two anymore. I'm so tired of that. They're not the same. And even if there's anything nefarious going on in this case, it's not the same as what was going on with Delphi. Completely different stuff. So, the prosecution's not really holding a bunch of hearings to get up there and tell us any tidbits or drop nuggets or anything like that. But Anne absolutely has the right to do that. And you will see that if you follow enough criminal cases and you're able to watch them go through the hearings. If this is the first time you've ever been through a court case beginning to end, or the first time you've ever witnessed a string of hearings, you're in for a surprise. Somebody mentioned the other day we were watching something, and the way the attorney and the judge were talking, and another attorney's like, wait a minute, that's normal though. They're like, oh, they're being so rude, but it was like, no, they're adults and they can have a debate, right? And talk it. No need to throw hands in the courtroom. We're adults, let's debate it. And that's all this is going to come down to at trial, a debate from the experts over this overwhelming data dump in this case, because the only physical thing they have is that sheath and that DNA. That's a big thing to overcome. Other than that, you got grainy car footage that we know of, and you got some cell phone data, and that's all we know they have at this point. So take everything you hear with a grain of salt, including what Ann Taylor tells us.
That's for sure.
I'm waiting on her to give me something I can jump on and say, you know what, Ann, there you go, for a long time. Yeah, exactly. We that's the gist, and but what it's going to come down to, and what Ann Taylor knows, that's a Supreme Court issue. You're not getting the IGG thrown out. It's been used too many times, too many cases in the same way with the same results. So it's something she's putting on record, so that when they do the appeals process, if they decide they want to take it all the way to the Supreme Court one day, they can and will. And in fact, Andrea Burkhart, did her little piece reviewing the hearings. She wasn't too impressed with Ann Taylor. And then there was a comment on Twitter about it. And I was like, yeah, but this is a Supreme Court matter. Andrea chimed in and agreed. She's like, yeah, we might hear about it in 10 years. So it's a non-issue right now. I mean, it's an issue, yes, moving forward in society, but it's one that has to be tested. All right. Well, like Ann says, is society ready for these changes? Y'all quit giving up your damn DNA so easily, and don't leave it at crime scenes. Good Lord, you're good to go. Motion to suppress RE genetic information, exhibits, description, and the pleading that it's for. So this is going to be motion to suppress the genetic info, these first two. Email between Gamut and Mooney referencing the contact for FBI genealogy. Then they're going to reference a case, Arizona versus Mitchum, opinion from Court of Appeals. Well, that's interesting. Write that down, Joe. Arizona versus Mitchum.
Hey,
Yeah,
Salty.
go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on. I do have to go. I'm going for lunch.
Okay, good. Okay.
But I just wanted to tell you guys thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you.
It's always enjoyable.
Well,
let me know when you're going to do your next one. And if I'm available, I'll hop back on then.
that sounds good. Broke up for a minute. I do want to have you back on because there is a particular topic that I want to talk about, and you and I are the only ones outside of me, you, Dolphin, and Firefly, that have really talked about this. So I'll get with you on that, and we'll get together again real soon, because I do want to have a conversation about this one particular thing. But we appreciate you having and coming on and taking the heat when you had to. Sorry about that. I don't want anybody to attack anybody over here, but you're tough, girl. That's all right.
Have a good day, everyone. It was nice seeing you, Dolphin.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
nice seeing you, Joe. And enjoy the rest of your day, chat. And thanks for having me, guys.
All right, you two have a great day.
Thank you. Okay. So Arizona versus the Mitchum case. Then they got these sealed letters between Latah and that's repeated, but that is also going to be used for the Franks motion, or the Franks hearing, but utilized in the motion to the interim policies mentioned, and that is also going to be used for both suppression of IGG and Franks. Then they cite Colorado versus Phillips, order denying motion to suppress familial DNA search. That's the state's exhibit. Okay. Colorado versus Phillips, order denying motion to suppress familial DNA search. I got and fruit thereof. Oh, I gotta write that down, y'all, because I want to look at that case. Hold on. Okay. And that'll be used in the state's objection to defendant's motion to suppress. So that's going to be the state using that. Return of warrant, receipt, and inventory and order. That's defendant's exhibit. And then the state has the affidavits for the AT&T search warrant, the first one, and search warrant dated for 12/23/22. Return of search warrant, receipt, inventory, order. Let's see. Here's remember the pin trap and trace. Y'all better get that right, because that judge did not like it when she kept saying trap and trace. He kept saying pin trap and trace. 12/23 pin trap and trace warrant 509 Nick Balance. So Nick Balance must have been the one to do that one. And that will be in support of the motion to suppress the memorandum on the pin trap and trace device. She's trying to throw out stuff they use all the time, every day, twice on Sunday, as the judge would say. The defendant exhibit C, AT&T form with a warrant. And see, that's all for the trap and trace stuff for the AT&T. The search warrant for the home in Pennsylvania, a test warrant, a test. They can't. Dolphin, you're right. They did not do this right, did they?
No, it's awful.
It is awful. That wasn't me that time, y'all. I'm gonna start playing. Arrest warrant and affidavit for arrest warrant on the 29th. The Pennsylvania State Police Report initial narrative. That's the state exhibit. State exhibit Pennsylvania State Police Report, General Offense Report. And that'll be in the motions to suppress the search warrant at the home in Pennsylvania. State's exhibit, Pennsylvania State Police Report, General Offense Report, PSP, Special Emergency Response Team log event. The state's exhibit, application for search warrant, letter to Detective Payne from Pennsylvania State Police Sergeant Michael Lang. Pennsylvania State Police Report, General Offense Report regarding custody of Brian Kohberger. And a lot of times all those discovery motions that were being turned over or asked for, all this discovery, a lot of that was all of this stuff. And people are just like, and it's like, oh my God, it's got to be all that damning evidence or non-damning evidence. No, it's just freaking actual evidence, like all the damn emails that she wanted. Takes a hot minute, Anne. Hold on. State's exhibits S1 and S2, affidavit for search warrant for Kohberger's persons, and then again, is there anything that's jumped out at you like from these so far, just besides the interviews and different things like that? We know that they now have, which we assumed they did, and if the investigation was done right, you're going to have this stuff. I see familiar name at the bottom of this one.
Don Daniel.
So defendants exhibit A, application for search warrant, motion in order to unseal, return motion to transfer custody of items. Unseal the return, please do. Motion to transfer custody of items. That's all the items that was transferred from Pennsylvania back over to Idaho, I suppose, that came from the home in the car. Motions and orders to seal the search warrant return. Redacted search warrant for the residence in Washington. That would be the apartment. Okay, so amended statement by Dawn Daniels, WSU Police, regarding the search for the resident. You think that's going to be where she put it in there? Don't worry about that IGG, ignore it? Yeah, that might come back a little bit to haunt them. Jules is going to have a field day with that one. Ooh, I'll have to watch Jules' next video on that. Defendants Exhibit A, affidavit for search warrant and search warrant dated 1/9/23. This is going to be used in the Defendant's motion to suppress cell phone USB file memorandum in support of the Moscow Police Forensic Lab. Boy, look, guys, this thing goes on for a hot minute. Is there anything y'all want to discuss? Let me check chat for a minute because I haven't took a really good look in a minute to see what you guys are talking about over here. Again, I appreciate all you coming in and hanging out with us and getting caught up on the latest.
Oh, hey, I don't know if you read my message in back chat, but the reason I'm a little quieter is because I had something scheduled for 1 o'clock, so I've got something else in my ear. I'm in a raid.
You're okay.
But I can still hear you guys, and I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm looking at the screen, too.
Okay, you're good. You're good. I'll catch up on chat real quick, and then we'll move on and have a little discussion and get some more of this stuff. Well, let's see. Let me get my computer caught up to the chat box. Anne actually said he did go to Moscow. We just reviewed it the last stream we did. So we on our last stream we did a 2-day stream and we reviewed those hearings in depth. And Anne actually states in the hearing that he did travel to Moscow, but he wasn't over there. So let me get. Right, Donnie answered that question. The FBI admitted the car 0.3 miles from the house on Ridge Road was a 2013. I don't recall seeing that admitted anywhere. I recall them saying that was one of the best quality photos they had of the car, I believe, which helped identify the car. But I don't know if it was when they changed the year, you know. I know she keeps saying he's innocent, but Ridge Road, if you look at a map, and I'll show you guys in a minute, Ridge Road is a very small section of Walenta Road. Like, it's on a curve, and for some reason, Walenta turns into Ridge and back into Walenta. So it's a very small section of road. You think she was referring to the 12 times? Well, I don't know. Dolphin and I, we were listening. If you just, I don't know. I have to find that clip. And Dolphin, what was your take on that as well?
I thought, I didn't get the 12 times. It's like you have to look at the context of what she was talking about at the time that she said it.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah, if you can find the clip, I'd like to hear it again.
Okay, you guys bear with me, and I will grab that. And
ooh, sorry if y'all heard
we
that.
can take a look. If we can all listen, yeah, because I mean, I appreciate everybody's take on it. Like I said, two people can see and hear the same exact thing and have a completely different take, you know. So it's always good to.
That's what we were talking about earlier. The interview that Steve Gonzalez did with Norma said Fox 4 News, I think is what she said. Remember when Steve was talking about, they listened to Kaylee's messages or they checked her text, and he said she didn't send any text messages, she didn't call 911, like that night, nothing. It didn't seem like anything was out of the ordinary. Like, she was, I'm going to say agitated, but that's not what he said. But that, and a lot of people then thought that he said she did call 911 and was saying, well, where's the second 911 call? Why didn't they show up at 3-something, 4-something in the morning when she called or whatever? But then remember, we went back and kept like watching that video, and we turned up the volume and everything, and it's like, no, he actually said she didn't call 911. Steve doesn't enunciate strongly a lot of times.
No, he doesn't.
And people misunderstand things that he says. And so,
yeah, you and I have
we were talking about that clip. I
Yeah.
was thinking
You
maybe
and
if you
I've
found it, you could play it, but yeah.
I've got a bunch of saved clips from
Mhm.
them, and I will try to do that because, it's like I say, you have to know, you have to learn Stephen Christie. You have to learn how to take them and what they're saying, and the way they talk and the way they enunciate. And you're right.
Mhm.
I know that so many people have said for well over a year and a half, Steve needs to sit down and shut up. Well, then we could say the same thing for ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe we should sit down and shut up. She wasn't our daughter.
Yeah, that's
It's
true. Yeah, he
not
does have a right to talk about his daughter as much as he
he
wants.
absolutely has a right, and I think for people to come out and say he shouldn't be talking, he needs to be quiet, like, really? Why? I mean, you don't gotta agree with the man. You don't even have to watch him. Hell, there's an on and off button everywhere you go. In my world, there is.
Yeah.
Was it part 2 of the hearing? Let me try to find the spot, guys. Let me get to the
So
trans
wait, which thing are you looking for?
We are looking for when Anne stated, and Firefly wants to make sure we get the whole conversation part, um, where Anne said he was in Moscow, but not over there.
Okay,
Is
Anne is day 1. For the majority of everything
Okay,
that she said was day 1, the Thursday.
okay. Let
Mhm.
me get part 1 pulled up here. Let me try to grab the transcript so I can try to pinpoint where. Why is it not showing me? Okay, let's see.
I hope you guys can't hear my game sounds.
You're okay. I hear you typing just a little bit, but it's not a biggie.
Oh, here, let me put myself on follow and I can adjust the sounds. Okay, there's that.
No, it must have been on day 2. Day 1's that black-headed lady. Okay, let me go get the other one real quick because I can't pull up the transcript the way this is done. So let me click here.
Oh, Emily D. Baker has transcripts with hers.
I'm looking for Anne up there talking, but I'm seeing everybody but Anne. Oh, okay, here we go.
'Cause she was the first person on, what do you call it? Oh, maybe she did say that on the second day. I thought she
Mm-hmm.
said the bulk of everything that she had to say on the first day. She was tossing out nuggets on Thursday.
Okay, this is right when they're coming back from their. Let me see. Let me see if I can grab Emily's, guys, because I don't want to have to watch this whole thing to find out where Anne said that. So let me do that real quick. If I can just pull it up from her specific area there, we could do better. And I usually write timestamps down of certain things, but I just didn't with this one, so sorry. Okay. Day 2. That would be the one we were watching this morning where she's like looking for Jay. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, that's Detective Mallory, cross-exam. Let's see if this is Anne talking about anything. That's what's her name. Okay, let's see if this is it. Hold on, guys. Hang on.
Okay. You're actually giving me time to finish this event.
All right. Sorry, Chad. I'm trying to get us into the right spot so we don't have to watch the whole thing. Okay, it might be in this segment. We're going to watch this piece, and hopefully this is the right part, because this is like her rebuttal to stuff. So let's see. Shout out to Emily D. Baker, if I found it right, because she does got a nice little layout there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if we can get her link dropped into chat again, that would be great. Which reminds me is, let me see something. Pink Peony, if you are still in here and can hear me, send me an email. It's on my YouTube channel, saltysleuth@gmail.com. Anyway, just send me an email, okay? All right, so let me get this going, and we'll see if this is it. All right, everybody, pay attention now.
My hope was that they would be limited because they didn't fulfill their disclosure requirement, and we did, and that put us at.
Oh, now she's mad. Now she's like, but Your Honor, no, Your Honor, that's not what we want. Your Honor, that's not what we want. EDB, you've also misinterpreted what we're asking for. I did. Your Honor, that's not what we want. What we want is not for you to tell them to add more information. What we want is for you to tell them they can't have the witness. That's not going to happen. The court said your work's not done. And she goes, but Your Honor, I don't want them to do it. I want you to limit it. No, Your Honor, don't. No. I want you to cut their witnesses off at the knees. That's not going to happen in January. That's not going to happen. It's just not. They've been warned.
To the court's comments.
The court's not going to do that.
I feel like I must go through what their disclosures were because there are so many lists. My hope was that they would be limited because they didn't fulfill their disclosure requirement, and we did, and that put us at quite a disadvantage, not knowing what their experts would say.
And if they supplement, you certainly can supplement based upon what they supplement, and I will permit that, and that's kind of the nature of the beast.
He just treated it as a jumping off point.
And should that become necessary, we'll definitely take you up on that, Your Honor. I want to make a record about some of their expert disclosures, though.
She's like, I'm not done yet.
All of the lab people, they have lab reports and notes. The Idaho State Police Forensics Lab, I better be really clear on that. Other than the wiggle room language, which would ask that they not be permitted to have any wiggle room language, the lab reports are fine, with the exception of one of the witnesses, Miss Nowlin, that they've disclosed, and she's written no reports.
Is that the one
lab
they said
reports
is a
and
rebuttal
this
witness?
exhibit must
They
be
said she
for
might be a
ISP.
rebuttal witness, so I suppose now they know what our witness is going to say. I want to talk about the CAST report. The court's heard a lot about the CAST report.
And her saying, well, now they know what our witnesses are going to say. Yeah, they have to. They have to know what your experts are going to say. There is no hiding the ball. Everything gets disclosed. It is different altogether. This is, when Anna's saying, well, now they know what we're going to say. Yes, they have to. And then they're going to supplement, and then you're going to supplement. There is nothing abnormal happening here. There's frustration.
When I say CAST report, that's because that's what it's called. It's really a PowerPoint presentation. There's not any analysis in that. There's just, this will be my testimony. This is what it's going to be. Without much more, it's a picture, and it has some dots and some arrows. Your Honor, that needs to be cleaned up. We need to understand the analysis that went into coming up with those PowerPoint presentations. That's just not plain good enough. I would let the court know that the cell phone experts, there's wiggle language in both of those if the court hasn't seen that. Their disclosure number, that's Mr. Cox, that's a person that has not written a report at all. We have no idea besides the state's disclosure what that person is going to talk about. Agent Douglas that I talked about before, I don't think I need to make further record. There's a lot of documents, no analysis, no opinion stated. We put several of these in our pleadings, and so I won't go through all of them. I'm highlighting the ones that we're really concerned about. We have 3 that looked at digital data. The court should understand there's 60 some devices. There's digital data from third-party sources, and there are 3 people that are listed with just lists of things. It's Mowry, Tanzola, and Uri. They have lists of devices or social media accounts that they're going to talk about.
60 devices?
That our expert told us would take 3 years to look at every bit of the data. So having no clue what's going to happen, I can envision exactly what the court's fear is when we get to jury trial, me wondering if this particular thing was ever disclosed. So I definitely needed to make a record of that.
$60 devices is a lot of devices.
Further with the lab personnel, there's a caveat that says they'll talk about other people's reports and other things that are outside of their report, in addition to some of the other wiggle language that I referred to. Your Honor, given that the state is now cautioned to think about those things and submit more, I feel like it's important for us to bring out that we have a right to confront the evidence that's brought against us. Brian has constitutional rights, United States and state of Idaho constitutional rights for a fair trial and to confront evidence. The expert disclosures are designed to advise us of what the state is going to do. Their disclosures were insufficient. I appreciate what the court said, but exactly what the court's worried about will happen if we don't have better disclosures. The jury will be in and out while we make sure that we have a clean record. We appreciate what the court said today, and we'd ask the court to order the state to comply or for the court to exclude anything that hasn't been disclosed so far. That's it.
That
He made
obviously
clear he
wasn't
will.
the part
Well,
I
I'm gonna
wanted,
give-
guys.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Shit. Sorry.
Did you look in the transcript?
Yeah, and it's got, and she's got her chapters and everything, and that was the only time Anne spoke in that one. Let me hold on. If it's in this one here, maybe it was that very first one, like you were saying. Shit. Okay.
They had multiple, I assume, witnesses testify. I would love to tell you what the witness list looks like and who testified, but it's also sealed. So the hearings today are regarding motions to suppress. What's interesting is going on in the Corey Richens case today is also hearings on motions to suppress. What does that mean? It means the defense has made their motions to suppress a whole bunch of evidence before this goes to trial, including evidence gathered from Brian Kohberger's apartment, his Amazon account, his Apple accounts, anything taken in a search with the arrest warrant, anything from AT&T, Idaho, anything from the search of his person in Pennsylvania, anything searched from the white Honda, things searched from a home in Pennsylvania, his Google accounts, and more. So they are trying to say, Your Honor, for reasons, and we're going to hear those today, for reasons, you need to suppress whatever law enforcement got from
let's
this
see
particular.
what she's got.
So the court is asking So the court is asking incredibly specific questions, and Ann Taylor is trying to redirect those questions, and that's not. So the court is.
Sorry,
So
if I weren't
the
doing
court-
this, I'd be able to help you try and find it. I've only got 3 more
So
to go.
the court is
You're
asking
okay.
incredibly specific questions, and Ann Taylor is trying to.
I don't know if this is it or not. Let's just try. She's talking about how the court was, remember when they were asking specific questions and she didn't seem to want to answer, like, did he upload his own DNA?
Yeah.
Okay, this is, I think, about that too. So maybe it was in this. I don't really remember, guys. Oops. Okay.
Redirect those questions, and that's not going great for her. So let us just swoop-a-doop and return to court, and hopefully my heart rate will resume a normal rate because my Apple Watch is now beeping at me. That's where we're at. Thank you for your patience during our technical difficulties. Everyone's going to get another drink voucher and some snackies.
As far as asserting family,
Specific DNA tests done of the sample that goes from legitimate to illegitimate?
yes, Your Honor, I think the Davis case is on point.
Court disagrees.
If the court's theory that this is a lawful piece of evidence taken from the crime scene, the sheath,
My theory, I'm just trying to understand your position in light of the case law and in light of the state's arguments. I'm trying to find where the gristle is in this.
I'm adopting the court's hypothesis for this purpose, that the knife sheath was taken. I'm adopting it only for that purpose. And I'm relying on the Davis case that says subsequent searches need a warrant.
And remind me, Davis was the cell phone?
No, Davis was not the cell phone. Davis was blood, a sample with blood. The cell phone case is
Give me the
Carpenter.
site to that.
I'm sorry?
Can you give me the site to the Davis case?
And 2 seconds. 2 seconds and glasses.
I mean, girl, fair. Let me get my readers. Fair. So for all of you asking, look, Ann Taylor is making difficult arguments that are not well taken by the court. They are not seemingly well supported by the facts. I say seemingly because we don't have a complete record that's public.
My memory tends to be fact-based and not name-based, and so that's my liability.
Your Honor, I feel so seen. I have never heard a judge actually acknowledge my memory is more fact-based
I
than
apologize.
name-based.
I wrote the name down, but not the.
Me. That's me. There are lawyers who are incredible at this case, this page, this line, this judge held this. My brain doesn't work that way. I will remember facts like they are song lyrics. It's, oh, the case where this thing happened. I could not tell you what judge wrote the opinion, what the name of the opinion was, any of it. Mind, and then they can just see that information. I have no mind's eye. I cannot do that. My brain remembers dialogue, and the facts are the dialogue. And I've never heard a judge say, my memory is more fact-based. I feel so seen. Thank you, Judge H.
In my notes, but I know it's cited in our briefing. I can't remember what
I love it. I'm here for it.
it is. 690 F3rd.
So he was asking her for the site.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. And so those are the 3 areas that we believe that there should have been a search warrant and there wasn't. There is an expectation of privacy in one's DNA that society is willing to recognize. And I think I'd talked to the court a little bit about the things that happened in this case that were super secret. I think we'd gotten to the point where we were talking, and this goes to recognizing an expectation of privacy when there's all of this secrecy surrounding it. We had gotten to the FBI where the SNP profile was twice as big as that from Othram. And then the FBI went into databases that violate the Department of Justice interim policy. You heard a lot about that Department of Justice interim policy, and that policy it's on page 6 of that particular exhibit that the court has. It says that they're not to go into databases that aren't allowed. And they did that. The court has that in another exhibit.
How's that a constitutional violation?
Your Honor, it goes to privacy.
Suppress for contractual violations or even statutory violations.
I'm not suggesting that we do that. I'm suggesting that that's information that's pertinent to this court in making a very important decision as to whether somebody's Fourth Amendment rights were violated, as well as Article 1, Section 17 of the Idaho Constitution. The purpose of offering that information is because there's a policy, so there's a recognized expectation of privacy in what's contained in a SNP. In a SNP at all, there has to be a warrant to search these types of things, and there wasn't.
No, there doesn't. Not if it's not your
no
clients.
need to have any policy if nobody.
If it's not your client, somebody else can come in and complain. And a lot of you are asking very good questions about warrants. Look, criminal procedure dealing with the Fourth Amendment is like an entire class in law school. It is not always an easy, quick answer, and it is an in-depth area of law, and the case law keeps changing. In this argument, she is arguing not about taking Bryan Kohberger's DNA from him. She is arguing about creating a DNA profile from evidence at the crime scene and then testing that against databases and then testing that against IgG DNA. So she is not arguing his DNA at this point. It's the DNA taken from the crime scene and made into a SNP or a profile, and then the DNA run against databases. So this
Damn it, Donnie. Like, I am so talking, but let me get back to what I was trying to say. So what I was referring to was, first of all, Norma, I didn't get a email yet, hun. But I wanted to ask you, with it hasn't taken them 2 years to turn everything over to her. What has been taking, like they were explaining, every time something comes up, the new discovery comes up, then they each will have their rebuttals to each other. All these things continue and continue. And Anne we were reading off the list of all of the exhibits just a few minutes ago. We didn't even finish it. There were a ton of exhibits proving that Ann Taylor has had a ton of evidence turned over to her, because she wouldn't have had time to go through all of that, find what was useful to her, and then turn around and use those materials to try to get the evidence suppressed and to try to use the Franks hearing to get the warrants thrown out. So they had to do a two-week report just to get information from the FBI. And then the judge granted her subpoenas to try to even move forward to get more from the FBI. And Ann would state in court, I want the FBI reports this. And everybody knows, if you follow enough court cases, you're not going to get a lot of stuff out of the FBI, right? They're rarely, they don't even have to comply with the subpoenas they do receive. So the fact that she even got some things, that speaks volumes that she did. Now, I'm not saying prosecution's like 100% right and done everything by the book here, because they probably didn't. We hope they did. We can't let criminals, alleged suspects, get away on technicalities. Kind of like, what if they can prove Brian Kohberger did it, but they used a back door to access IGG? Do we let him go? You know, I mean, just like if they, like, I'm just throwing scenarios out there. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, that Arizona versus Mitchum case is very interesting because the trial court
You
found
told me something about that, didn't you? Okay, go ahead.
actually that wasn't Arizona versus Mitchum. That was like 7 or 8 other IGG cases, but went all the way up to the Arizona Supreme Court, and the Arizona Supreme Court found, so it was a case where somebody got a DUI and they took two vials of blood to do the toxicology to figure out what his blood alcohol level was. He was convicted of the DUI, and then he got a second DUI, but they used that second vial of blood to create a DNA profile that they linked through ancestral DNA to his brother, who left DNA at the scene of a murder in Arizona, in Maricopa County. In Maricopa County. So the Supreme Court said the law enforcement illegally created that DNA profile, but you probably would have figured out his DNA anyway, so we're going to allow it. It was really weird finding by the Arizona Supreme Court.
That is kind of weird because, first of all, why build an IGG on this one particular person if he was a murder suspect?
Right.
Like,
he was the brother of a murder suspect.
Yeah,
so they went back and they used that. I think
wait. They would have had to have already known he was the guy's brother.
Probably so, yes.
Okay, because I'm like, if they just willy-nilly, like, you know what, let's just take and build a profile off this dude. No. You're not, that's crossing a line.
Unless they're doing that with the blood that they take from every single DUI suspect. And how do you feel about that? How do you feel about
I don't like that. That's not why. You don't have probable cause to go build an IGG tree on me because I made a stupid decision to drink and drive. That's one thing I cannot tolerate, is drinking and driving. By the way, that's I won't get off on that tyrant. But just because, so if I go to the doctor and they take a vial of blood, are they going to build an IGG tree on me now? Or is that just for law enforcement? No, you don't. You have to have probable cause to do that, to conduct that. Like, if you're just building them on everybody you arrest that you get a sample from, that's like next level Terminator bullshit.
Yeah, that's why that Arizona versus Mitchum case was cited in there, because it's almost kind of like a conflicting ruling that the Arizona Supreme Court came up with. We're going to throw out the DNA that you generated and matched from that second vial of blood from the DUI, but we're going to say you probably would have found it anyway, so we're going to allow it. That just makes no sense to me.
Well, it makes no sense why they would even look at his family tree IGG stuff unless they did it for a specific reason. That's my whole thing.
How does that relate to Kohberger? Did they kind of do the same thing there?
I mean, they had a knife sheath with some DNA on it. And
right, but how did they go out? How did they go to his house in Pennsylvania to get his trash from the neighbor's trash can to be like, okay, we are going to match this to
they sent the
DNA at the crime scene?
They first were able to pull from the dad's trash and got a match that hit on the dad, the person matching that DNA was probable father of the suspect DNA. And then when they said in the hearing that the trash truck picked up the garbage from the home. And
Right,
then
but why were they even looking at his dad in the first place?
they weren't.
So
they
they
were
went-
trying to get anybody's DNA. It was already, but that DNA was at the curb.
Right, in Pennsylvania, not in Moscow, Idaho, where the crimes occurred.
So maybe I'm not following you. They knew he was their suspect before he ever let.
How did they know that before they got DNA? That's what I'm
Okay,
getting.
here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to try to explain, and I know there will be people who do not agree with it, and I don't know that it's accurate. Here's the best that we can do with it. According to dates that we do know of, at around the same time they were doing their IGG work, right? Even if it turns out and points directly at Kohberger, they can't go arrest him. That's what you can't do with IGG. You have to have other evidence linking that person before you can go and arrest them. So they're trying to build their IGG profile just to get to somebody. At the same time, they're starting to query these white Elantras. And right around the same time, they find that one WSU parking lot. And when that officer calls it in, and it's come back registered to a Brian Kohberger, and the picture on his driver's license, the officer noticed parking lot, or that IGG that pointed him toward that guy that lives over there in Washington, and that, if it did point them there, and then they go there, and lo and behold, he does have a white car, and he's got bushy eyebrows, there you go, either way. But the IGG alone did not get him arrested. That's what Ann's trying to say happened. So I don't, is the argument that they shouldn't IGG anybody? I don't, is that what you're asking, or did they not know of Kohberger until they pulled the trash? I mean, they had to have known him to even want to go pull trash. So when they pulled the trash, it turns out it wasn't Kohberger's, it was Daddy's, because he was bagging his up the whole time and putting it next door.
Right. So we have a question that we've kind of addressed in the past about why they didn't get his DNA from his apartment in Washington. Why did they go all the way to Pennsylvania? You want to address that again briefly?
Yeah, because I think he was doing too good of a job to try to make sure they couldn't get DNA. I mean, come on. If he's our guy, right? If he's the guy, he is incredibly smart. He has studied all of this in school. He knows what they're going to look for at a crime scene. He knows what they do when they follow people to surreptitiously get a cigarette butt. This guy's a vegan. He lives in an apartment. So if you go and you throw your apartment garbage into a mutual dumpster, are they going to look highly suspicious walking up to that dumpster? Or is that curtilage? Do they have to wait till it's dumped into a dumpster or into a landfill and then go search it? How would they pick out which one's his? And if they do, it would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Or, were they following him trying? Hopefully, this guy going to throw a water bottle down, and he never threw anything down? That would be my only assumption. I've seen forensic files where they have literally offered the guy an ashtray, and the guy smokes like an idiot and leaves it there. I watched one where they offered the guy a bottle of water, and the guy looked at that water, and he's like, no, thank you. Because the guy knew the minute I sip that water and leave it here, they got my DNA, and I abandoned it right here in the police station. So that's my theory, is they couldn't get one. And they didn't have enough probable cause to arrest him yet, to force him to turn over a warrant on DNA to swab him. Do you know what I mean? So
did the probable cause affidavit come before or after they did the IGG DNA comparison with his dad's DNA in Pennsylvania?
Do what now? I'm sorry.
Where in the timeline does the probable cause affidavit fall in relation to them collecting his dad's DNA out of his trash and then Brian's DNA out of his neighbor's trash. Where does the PCA fall in that timeline?
It was,
After.
yeah, go ahead, Dolphin. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm sorry. We
No, you're good.
just were wrapping up, and I heard what he said. After, but right before the arrest, they take
Yeah.
the PCA and then take it to the magistrate judge to say, "Hey, we need an arrest warrant for this guy."
So that's the PCA for the arrest. They had to have. Did they have to have a? Well, no, you don't have to have a warrant to take trash. Okay, all
No,
right,
you
I get
don't.
it now.
Mm-mm,
Yeah, I
you
get it
don't.
now.
Yep. And Firefly, I know, right? We've always wondered if he's so smart, why take his car and his phone and many take an Uber, rent a car. Well, you leave a paper trail when you do all that. If you think you're hiding your car well enough, just you don't need to leave it or take somebody else's car. The phone, I don't know. I always said there's got to be a method to the madness. He took it for a reason. What was that reason? To turn it off and leave it somewhere so it appears that phone was stationary over here this whole time? I don't know. But you could be spot on. You could be super bright and not have any common sense either, though. But you would think he would know. Like I've always said, leave the phone at home by the bed, right? It's too easy to say, hey, I went for my nightly drive because I couldn't sleep again. 20 minutes from the house, realized I forgot my phone and I wasn't going back at that point. I know my route. And the car's safe. I'm good to go. Doors are locked. I'm a man. They didn't even interview him. Who? Are y'all talking about somebody different? Oh, Koberger?
That would be a police interrogation I would watch. And
if you're charged with the crime, yeah, well,
no, I was just going to say, if they had interviewed him, if they brought him into the interrogation room, that would be an interrogation that I would watch and watch.
Oh,
and
heck
watch.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be popcorn buckets.
Yeah, if you're charged with a crime, they have to show you the proof, don't they? Yes, they do. Well, what they got to do is turn over what evidence they have, and then you go to court, and then a jury of your peers decides, is that enough proof that you did or didn't do something? That's how that works. But yeah, and remember, guys, Lori Vallow was tried in Idaho, and the death penalty was removed from the table. It was on the table for her to receive the death penalty for the murders of her children. Well, lo and behold, the prosecution failed to turn over documents on time as ordered by the judge. So they were sanctioned. Prosecution here in Latah County is very well aware of what occurred in the Lori Vallow case. So I don't think they would purposely not turn something over because it could take away what they want the most, the death penalty. Could they be hiding something? Absolutely. I'm not naive. I do know corruption is out there, and I know there's horrible shit. Look at Delphi. I mean, there's so much there that it blows my mind. And I didn't think it was going to get as bad as it did. The boy was wrong. And I didn't take everything the defense filed as solid gold. I didn't. But there's a lot of corroborating stuff to go along with what the defense had to say. And none of that has happened in Idaho. What we hear is, oh, they're filing for another this. They're filing for more discovery. But if you listen to actual attorneys, they will explain some of that stuff to us, and that's what I like about, and I'll watch different attorneys' takes. I don't want to watch just one's opinion. I like to get a couple of them's opinion.
Oh, yeah. Same here. Sorry, I just got back.
Okay. Oh, you're good. You're good.
Now you have my undivided attention.
We'll look back. 21 motions to compel suggest. Yeah, well, if you took a look at Lori Vallow's Idaho case log or Chad Daybell's and saw how many motions to compel were in those cases. This is what I'm going to ask you guys. I'll challenge you. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But I've been watching true crime for 30 years. I've watched many court cases. This is not my first rodeo with a court case. So it's not that unusual. I know there are people who are pushing that narrative it's super unusual. That's all these things, but honestly, it's not. It's par for the course, honestly. And I'll be glad when they get through all these damn motions to this and that, and let's just get down to business. Either you're going to throw it all out and we got nothing, or you're not going to get all your, stuff thrown out, and let's move on to trial, because 2 years is 2 years. It's been long enough. Let me see if I can pull up our thing again. Yeah.
Oh, so did you ever find the part
No.
that you were looking for?
No, I got busy talking, and
Oh, okay.
I was
Because I tried to pull up the transcript and look while I was doing what I was doing, but
yeah.
because there are timestamps in here too.
Yeah, because I would like to listen to that again just to make sure we heard that correctly. Okay, Norma, I'll check just 1 second, hun.
I want to say it was more towards the end. And I'm thinking, was it around the time that
You're right.
they were talking about the car?
Yeah.
And like you guys mentioned a while ago about, oh, we finally got a good photo. We finally got a good one. Like
Yes. the
where, da-da-da. I think it was kind of like around there.
Okay.
Let me see.
Okay, let me pull
Make
up
this
something here.
bigger.
Let's see. Was it after Bill got up and spoke?
I don't know. I'm like at 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 45 seconds because she's talking about the direction of the car or whatever. So I've got the transcript on the side, and I'm trying to find. I'm actually looking just for the word Moscow because
Okay.
she said,
Well,
yeah, he did go to
I'll
Moscow.
let you search for that then. You do that while I'll pull that document back up. We'll just
Okay.
kind of like read through it while you're looking and see if we can pull that back up. Okay, let's see. Thank you for bearing with us, guys. We just want to bring the correct information out there if we can get it out there. Of course, we will speculate and talk theories. That's what we do. All right, let's see. Whoops.
Oh, I found it.
Did you find it? Okay, you want
Yep.
to? We'll pull
It's
your screen up. Let me.
Oh, okay.
You want to share your screen, and I'll pull you up.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Let's see. Where's
Firefly, I hope you're still in here, hun. I haven't had a. Let me check
I've got
chat.
a bunch of tabs. Let me just find the original window with Restream. Yeah, okay. Share my screen. Oh, again, I have a bunch of tabs open.
Joe says that all the time too. He's like, "Oh, these tabs are open."
Well, I've got 7 different windows open, but then each one has about 30 or 40 tabs. Like, yeah. Emily. Hold on, let me cancel. Let me swap back to the screen that had her. Okay, here, and let me just move this tab next to the Restream.
Okay.
That'll be
Okay.
the
Good,
best way to do
Firefly.
it. Yeah, okay. So Restream is here. I'm going to move this right here. Okay. Is it this one? Yeah, I think. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Gotcha.
It's this one.
Yep. Okay. Here we
Now
go.
for you guys, let me make it, I'll do full screen. Okay.
Thank you, Dolphin.
Let me know if you guys can see.
I can see it.
Okay. Can everybody else see it?
Everybody else, let her know if you can see it.
Their
Let's look
cell
at chat. Let me get.
experts report that say
Ooh,
the
I wanna know
phone
more about
stops recording at 2, and that's not
I
right.
can see and hear.
Yes.
We said
Okay.
2:47 a.m. and that's not right. We submitted their cell experts report to say
Ooh, I wanna know
phone
more about
stops reporting at 2:54 a.m. We submitted 2 affidavits to you from our experts who have worked with the call detail records, and that's just not right. Don't get caught up in thinking
Okay, so what's
7
right?
minutes don't matter.
So what's right then?
We're talking
What's right?
about ground that can be covered in a vehicle in a short time. We're talking about 2 towns that are fairly close together. And so the way a car points when they go off the network matters a whole lot in the circumstance. That's not corrected in any of the affidavits. That's the part that's really exculpatory to Mr. Koberger, is what direction, when the phone stops recording to the network, what direction is the car traveling? And you can know that based on the cell towers, the handoffs from tower to tower, as it tracks where a phone's going. The FBI knows how to do this. They chose not to do this. They chose to take a time 7 minutes before it really stopped recording, and they chose to make a map that showed a direction that that phone wasn't traveling in, to create a false narrative for the magistrate to rely on to find probable cause.
If that's true, that might be a problem. If the map is wrong, misleading, showing him traveling the direction he's not traveling in.
Your Honor, I draw the court's attention to D7 and 8. Those are the affidavits from the defense experts.
Hold on 1 second. Let me pause it because I know I saw it right around here.
You're good.
Did she say it yet? Because
I didn't hear her say it yet.
oh, okay. 20344. Go to Moscow. Could turn to go to Moscow. Moscow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like saying the Monon High Bridge improperly, right, Joe?
Monon. Monon is
Monon.
not correct. Monon is not correct. Yes, it is Monon.
Hey, Frank.
And Lafayette is Lafayette, not Lafayette.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
went to
it's me-
school at Purdue, so I know that.
I was about to say, yeah. But I'm in the South. I'm not far from Lafayette, Louisiana, so I pronounce it that
Hold on, let me make this bigger,
way.
smaller. Exit full screen. So I had the transcript right on the side. And then if you go,
Welcome in, American Princess.
Might be a problem.
hold on.
We are, bear
That's
with
starting
us,
it. And the reason
guys.
it's kind of
We're looking for something here to review. We're
The
just-
transcript's not moving with.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue I was having earlier. Yeah. And so it was I tried to go to East Idaho News and pull theirs up and look at
So
just
for
the transcript.
the sake of
that
A, my
way,
ways,
I
and B,
didn't
the
see
moderator.
it.
Okay, let's see. It's at the bottom. There we go. Show transcript. I literally just had it. Oh, it's coming up. What did I say to you a minute ago? I said like 2 hours, 4 minutes, 45 seconds.
Yeah, because I was a little ahead of you.
2:04:45. Okay, so I'm in the transcript. Because here she's talking about 2:47 a.m., really 2:54. Right in here, I'm looking for where it says Moscow. Maybe I jumped the gun on that other one. And you can't do a, Control F to find in this, I don't think. Let me make this bigger. There we go. Oh. Where's my scroll bar? Okay. What were you talking about before I interrupted you? Because I was going to say maybe you could go back. Moscow has 2 sours. Yep. You can see the handoffs. Here we go. 2/12/35 there. And the phone records absolutely show he did go to Moscow. He didn't go to the house, but he did go to Moscow at that time in the morning. So wait a minute. Oh, her caveat is at that time in the morning. So 2/12/35. So then right before, let me back. The magistrate in the real story is exculpatory. He was not stationary around that house. He was never at that house. Okay, here we go. So let me back it up just a little bit. She was talking about cast. That's what the attorney can rely on in the proffer. Okay, so around 2 hours, 12 minutes and something.
Okay.
So 2:11:52. Let's see. Sorry, I got
You're
so much
good.
shit here. Let's see. Full screen.
What did
Oh,
that
well, we're
have to
coming
do?
rely
up
on
to
it.
it then.
Crawford.
What is that?
And
I thought Joe was saying something.
I don't know. Did he?
I guess
Nope.
not. Okay,
I was
sorry.
muted.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
D1B, and in the cast final report, because those dates change, the court can rely on the evidence that will be produced at a hearing from defense experts that will talk about the handoffs, the patterns of handoffs, and how misleading that paragraph was to the magistrate. The real story is exculpatory to Mr. Koberger. He was not stationary around that house. He was never at that house. He did go to Moscow. He did drive around, but he wasn't over there. And the phone records absolutely
He
show
did go to Moscow. He didn't go to the house, but he did go to Moscow. At that time? In the morning?
We'll move forward to the setup.
Okay, so that's Emily who said in the morning and didn't clear it up.
Yes, she did.
Hmm?
Yes, she did.
What'd she say? How?
She said in the morning.
No, in the transcript we saw in the morning. That's
Oh.
Emily who said in the morning. It wasn't.
No,
Ann.
Ann did say it. He
That was
did go to
Emily.
Moscow. Play it again.
Okay, because she's making a comment about what Ann just said.
Yeah, I know.
warrants.
Hold on. Let me just. I'll make it theater mode. Let me go back. Because see, Emily, she had that look on her face, the same that we did when we heard it. So, because she's looking down. Now watch this.
And in the cast final report, because those dates change, the court can rely on the evidence that will be produced at a hearing from defense experts that will talk about the handoffs, the patterns of handoffs, and how misleading that paragraph was to the magistrate. The real story is exculpatory to Mr. Koberger. He was not stationary around that house. He was never at that house. He did go to Moscow. He did drive around, but he wasn't over there. And the phone records absolutely
He
show
did go to Moscow. He didn't go to the house.
Oh,
But he did
okay.
go to Moscow. At that time? In the morning?
We'll move forward to the
Gotcha.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, she was talking about this in the context of the handoffs, of the, what they were saying his movements were that night.
Yep.
She's talking about that night.
Yeah, guys, see, Firefly, did you hear it differently that time, or do you still feel that we heard it differently? Because that's what we're talking about, Frank. Anybody who's just joining in, was what did Anne mean when she said that? And some take it that, was she talking about the alleged 12 times? But it clearly, in the context of the conversation, she said he did go to Moscow. Now remember, the alibi said otherwise, but right now she just said he did go to Moscow. He was driving around, but not over there. And he was never stationary. So the car, how does she know he wasn't stationary? If the car wasn't moving, how do you know it's not moving? Is it got, can you track it? What about the phone not moving? Was that phone off for 2 hours and stationary somewhere, and that tells you he was never stationary around the home? Was that phone left somewhere on purpose? On this one that she's speaking about that same night. What do you guys?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want, we can back it up a little bit more, like a few more minutes, so you can hear what
Yeah.
because she's talking about those movements, the handoffs. Hold on, let me see. Where was the so this is, oh, and you might want to write this time code down.
Yeah, I am. I got you, girl.
This is probably going to come up again.
Yep.
Let's see. This is this second AT&T, because they're talking about AT&T. They're talking about, and the reason why I think also that she's talking about that night is because, she said that they were misleading the magistrate by including that in the PCA.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, wait a minute. Hold on, let's see.
To create a false narrative for
false.
the magistrate to rely on have been the right way along the run around that night. We cannot etch a bullet first. Wouldn't it be contra? And we're going to talk about the second warrant.
Here we go.
We'll talk about geofencing another day.
And we're going to talk about minutes difference of time. In the first
They're
AT&T
controversial.
warrant, in that affidavit, the police officer talks about
If they're off, they won't be in the
2:42
geofence.
a.m. that WSU cameras, because they start looking at WSU cameras after the IGG identification, they find a white car that they say is an Elantra at 2:42. So they get the phone records, and then it becomes 2:44 that they say Mr. Koberger's leaving his residence 2:44 a.m. And the place near Bishop Boulevard where one could turn to go to Moscow at 2:42 is inconsistent with 2:44, but they don't correct that. They don't correct that. They don't say that vehicle at 2:42 cannot have been the right white Elantra running around that night, because we now know it was at 2:44.
Unless the time on the camera is off.
They want to keep that in there because they want the car positioned like it's going to be going to Moscow. And that is really important with the misleading of the magistrate. When you look at 1A, that's the map we looked at earlier today, where there's the whole loop around, but there's a blue line as if pointing the car towards Moscow, and that's not what happened. They then report the car, the phone stops reporting to the network at 2:47 a.m. And that's not right. We submitted their cell experts report that say the phone stops reporting at 2:54 a.m. We submitted 2 affidavits to you from our experts who have worked with the call detail records, and that's just not right. Don't get caught up in thinking some nights don't matter here.
So what's right then?
We're talking about ground that can be covered in a vehicle in a short time. We're talking about 2 towns that are fairly close together. And so the way a car points when they go off the network matters a whole lot in this circumstance. That's not corrected in any of the affidavits. That's the part that's really exculpatory to Mr. Koberger, is what direction, when the phone stops reporting to the network, what direction is the car traveling? And you can know that based on the cell towers, the handoffs from tower to tower.
Sorry, I was trying to find the
You're good. But with what she just said, though, the car pointing in a different direction when it goes offline. When the car goes offline or when the phone
When
goes
her
offline?
the phone goes
Because
offline.
once that phone goes offline and is turned off, the car
Mhm.
could turn back around and go back the other direction.
Yeah, you can
Going
go
back.
anywhere you want to. That's the whole point.
Jesus Christ.
But she is definitely talking about them, like that night, like when he was, recorded, like leaving his house and all that. She is talking about the night of the murders right now. And as she keeps going, like I said, I don't even know if she realized that she said that.
I know. I think she did once she said it
Because
because of the
she
way
did
she
kind of
acted.
pause and she looked down
Yes.
afterwards, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me just keep playing.
Okay.
As it tracks where a phone's going. The FBI knows how to do this. They chose not to do this. They chose to take a time 7 minutes before it really stopped recording, and they chose to make a map that showed a direction that phone wasn't traveling in to create a false narrative for the magistrate to rely on to find probable cause.
If that's true, that might be a problem. If the map is wrong, misleading, showing him traveling the direction he's not traveling in.
Your Honor, I draw the court's attention to D7 and 8. Those are the affidavits from the defense experts. Their CVs are in D28.
The direction of travel. The direction of travel should be ascertainable by the cell phone tower handoffs and which towers you're going to, but there's a lot more information needed about that because it depends on the tower, it depends how far the towers are, it depends how much range the towers are, it depends if the towers identify what side of the tower the phone is hitting on, or if it doesn't identify what side of the tower it's hitting on. We don't have all that information, so we'll have to see. This is just the defense argument. It raises questions. I go, that's an interesting question, and I'm curious to see what the state says, but there's a lot of information, a lot more information needed about the towers before it's, clearly this is not accurate. So, curious.
TNT warrant comes, then you end up with warrants for Mr. Koperger's arrest. You end up with warrants for DNA samples to be taken, warrants for the search of his apartment, the search of his car, the search of his parents' house. Those are the warrants that are next implied in that. Here, what's added to that set of affidavits is the paragraph that talks about Mr. Koberger's phone using a tower that provides service to 1122 King on a number of occasions. The PC affidavit says 12. Your Honor needs to take a look at it is D1 B and C. That's an email from Nicholas Balance, and he's talking to the detective in Moscow about the dates that he says this thing happens. And then he puts those dates in his cast draft report and then his cast final report, and they don't match up. They're different dates on those, different times on those. But the really big deal about that is that it's misleading when you say the cell tower that also services this particular location. Moscow has, I think, 2 cell towers that service the.
That was me.
Those cover.
That was you. This time that was me. Hold on. We gotta bring the screen back. Apologies, chat. There are brief technical difficulties.
Places that one shops.
I was going to respond to chat, and then
one gets gas.
I moused too far.
From
I'm going to back up because she's talking about the cell towers and the area that they cover and what type of area they cover.
And you say the cell tower that also services this particular location. Moscow has, I think, 2 cell towers that service the town. Those cover places that one shops, places that one eats, places that one gets gas in Moscow. From the records, you can see handoffs, and so you know where a vehicle is going. You can know whether it's stationary or not. You can know whether it's parked, looking at a particular place or not. Based on those
Oh, yes,
records,
the
we also provided
stargazing.
the records just so the court would know there's a volume of records. I don't expect the court to decipher those records, but based on those records, they absolutely knew that Mr. Koperger wasn't around that residence, wasn't parked near the residence, didn't stop and have his phone in a stationary position at that residence. They absolutely
think
knew
they said that the
that that's
phone
not
went
what was
off.
happening, but they put it in there to make a connection that didn't exist. They put it in there so that the judge would think that this was the right person, and they shouldn't have done that. They knew that was incorrect. They also changed that quite a bit, performed a drive testing, and so there were other bits of data
I'm
that
very
came
curious about
in
the response to that.
so that they would know that was untrue. Now, for a magistrate to be relying, remember, on somebody who's a witness, somebody who's been interviewed 4 or 5 times, and continually says something that's absolutely impossible, has memory problems, and the judge never knows that.
Who's to say it's
We'll
impossible?
keep the IGG identification off to the side.
See that later.
But then you have this false narrative that looks like stalking, that looks like following, and it's not true. That is extremely damaging. It's very, very misleading. It's an outright lie to the magistrate. When you omit that kind of information, when you take that context out,
If there are
you might as well
lies,
say
it will be a
stalking
problem.
because that's what you're trying to say, and you know that's not true.
What's in that evidence
This
that we haven't
court
seen?
can rely on our proffer in D1B and in the CAS and in the CAS final report because those dates change. The court can rely on the evidence that will be produced at a hearing from defense experts that will talk about the handoffs, the patterns of handoffs, and how misleading that paragraph was to the magistrate. The real story is exculpatory to Mr. Koperger. He was not stationary around that house. He was never at that house. He did go to Moscow. He did drive around, but he wasn't over there. And the phone records absolutely
He
show
did go to Moscow. He didn't go to the house, but he did go to Moscow. At that time, in the morning,
We'll move forward to the set of warrants.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay.
Now that I've heard it, backed up, uninterrupted, because I had to stop looking at chat, she was talking about the night of the murders in the very beginning when I backed it up. Then she started talking about those 12 instances because she said different dates. And she was talking about the CAS report. And then she said that, she brought up Dylan and her, statements, multiple statements, blah, blah, blah. And then she said, what was it? She also said between the cast draft and the cast report that the dates had changed. That's why those 2 cast reports are listed on the list of exhibits, the draft and the report.
Yeah,
So
they have
basically,
a different date. I think they're a day apart, a day off or whatever.
mhm.
And I know, and I've listened to it really good as well. And she did, like you said, she went into one thing and then moved to the 12 pings. And then then it felt like she moved back to the night of. So I'm still
No,
in the middle. You think?
yeah, and Emily didn't mislead us. Emily just asked a legitimate question, but
Yeah, somebody
was he
saying
over
that.
there?
Oh.
Did he go over there in the morning? Da da da. Yeah,
No,
Firefly.
long before I even listened to Emily's this morning, I assumed that's what Anne had talked.
That she was talking about that
Yeah,
night.
because we did we ran a 2-day stream this week on these hearings, and we reviewed the hearing beginning to end, and so that was our take from the beginning.
Yeah,
And I
just
guess,
the
yeah,
Law and Crime Network, not this. Because I
yeah,
watched
we didn't watch it
hearing
through
by
her.
itself. But
Yeah.
see, this is a perfect example of how, like I said, if you don't pay attention,
Yeah.
all the way through, then you'll, misunderstand something, and then you take it forward, and take it off somewhere to chat or whatever, and then it's like misinformation. So at least, we went back, we looked at it, and then we're like, oh, okay, that's not what she was talking about. But she was talking about the night before, and then she, like meandered into the 12 different times or whatever, and saying that they use that to mislead it and make it look like he had a pattern of stalking them because he was around the house a lot.
Yeah. Driving in town driving, but not over there,
Mhm.
which makes sense. And that
Mhm.
is, like you said, that's part of doing this, going and re-listening, and people can point out things, but because we're not trying to purposely say or spread anything.
Yeah, I'm definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not. You know how I feel about that shit. But honestly, I had not, when I review the hearings, I'm reviewing them from judge, either if it's not from the judge's stream itself, it's usually East Idaho News. I don't watch other creators do it because I don't want to be led by anyone. I want
Right.
to, I don't. Um, I can't be sure, but I still think she was talking about, yeah, Firefly. It's one of those things, right? Was she or wasn't she? So it's still a little, we just don't know yet. We'll have to wait for a court, I guess, to find out more about all that. What guy was doing in his car all night long, since you know, driving around. I don't know what it's crazy, but we're gonna have to
Oh,
watch. Go ahead.
so quick question. While we're clearing, up or trying to clear up what we heard or whatever, so is Norma still here? Because she was talking about that interview. Remember the interview where Steve said that Kaylee didn't call 911,
Yeah.
and like they had looked at her text messages, nothing out of the norm that night. So it's supposedly on Fox 4 News. I don't know if anybody ever put a link to the clip in or whatever.
She tried to email it
Norma's
to
still
me.
here?
She says she tried to email it to me. It didn't come through that first time. Let me double check.
Mm.
I'm just not seeing an email from her. saltysleuth@gmail.com would be what you would need to use, but I still don't have an email from her yet. Oh, let me see. No. No. So I'll have to try to look that up, but
I've got, let me see, wait, is this
why
the
would
tab? Okay, yeah, I did.
that Kaylee tried to
Fox
call
4 News.
911 during the attacks?
So
I mean, we had
Norma
heard
and
stuff about all
somebody
that.
else. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, actually, and that's the one thing I didn't have a chance to type back, like later to say,
Yeah.
wait a minute. If Steve had said that his daughter in this one interview said that his daughter did try to call 911, do you honestly think that we would have never ever heard him mention that again?
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
And that's why I asked, was he by himself? Or was he with Christy? Because see here, I went to, oh no, I don't know if you can see my screen. Fox 4 News, Steve Gonzalez is what I searched. Speaks out on the suspect's arrest. I'm not sure. This is him by himself. Well, with Shannon. Is it maybe this? This is only 5 minutes.
Let's see. Let me get back here to the back screens so I can pull you back up. Joe, is that what you? Joe just sent something in back chat as well. Okay,
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
What
It's
is it,
not
Joe?
it's not a video, it's just an article though. The videos that are on that page are something else, but it does talk about him talking about the 911 call.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wait.
Wait a
Joe, back.
second.
Okay, Fox Seattle. Let me click on that. He said there's something in here.
In the text, not the videos.
Oh, no, that's the original, the one at 11:58. That's when the students called, the friends.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
yeah.
yeah, let me see. Let me go back to this. I'm
I've
thinking,
I've seen these parents do so many interviews, and I've never once heard that Kaylee called 911. We know she called Jack a bunch of times, but Okay, Frank, I'll check that out. I was talking about it the other day, how many of us, research towers in the area, and it was funny because in the court hearing, or the defense brought up 2 towers. Prosecution turned around and said there were 3, and at that very time, the judge said, "Don't make me have to give her a Frank's hearing." And I was like, "Whoa, what's the
Hmm.
discrepancy with these tower situations?" So I'll check that out, Frank. Thank you.
They do have a transcript. I'm just trying to scroll through this. Is there anybody else in chat that like looked for it too, or maybe found it from earlier?
I don't even know if Norma's still in here.
What specifically are we looking for?
Steve Gonzalez did an interview where he basically said that they had looked at Kaylee's phone. They looked at her text messages. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Like, basically, honestly, I think it was the same interview where he said, my girls did everything right that night.
Yes.
And he kind of like, I think he kind of went on from there and basically said, they took a ride share, they did this, and then they looked at the phone, looked at the text
Yeah.
messages, didn't see anything, nothing out of the ordinary. She didn't call 911, and so Norma and I were kind of like debating whether or not he said didn't or did. Norma said that he said she did call 911, and I was like, yeah, we originally thought that at first, but Steve doesn't really enunciate his like consonants and whatnot. He doesn't hit them with a hard T
Yep.
or whatever. And so we had gone back and looked at it, and so this is what I was talking about context, because if you're looking at somebody and you can't quite understand, you're listening to somebody and you can't quite understand what they said, it's like, but then look at the person and look at the body language. And I said, I want to say that he shook his head when he said that, right? Like, she didn't call 911, and he shook his head like, no, so it's like,
Right.
that's why I was trying to find the clip to go back to show it to her, to just say, here, look at this,
Kind
and
of like that statement people thought where he said she didn't have to go upstairs.
or she had the
Yeah.
share the ID, or what was it? Share the alibi. We
Yeah.
thought it was she had a good alibi.
Yeah, she
Remember
had
that?
the perfect alibi or
The-
something like
mhm,
that. Yeah,
mhm.
you really you have to take Steve with a grain of salt, yes, but you
Right.
have to learn how he speaks, how he talks from that region. What
Mhm.
I'm from the South, y'all. We gonna say a lot of things down here. You might go, "What the hell is she saying?" But yeah, I'm with Dolphin. We've been in this case since I've been in this case longer than I was in Delphi, and I've never heard it confirmed anywhere that one of the victims called 911.
Right. Well, there were rumors going
I mean,
around.
there were rumors that
Remember?
we're talking
That
2
there
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, there were rumors that, oh, the original 911 call was at 3 in the morning, and their
Yes.
timeline is wrong. And what did they do with the 911 call log? They wiped the log. It's like this huge conspiracy, and it's just like,
Yep.
no, I
You
don't
heard
believe
it
that.
all. Exactly. Um, like I said, the FBI was thrown out of Delphi by Delphi. Moscow had never asked the FBI to leave. So now we're going to have all these agencies getting together and saying, you know what, Moscow, we got your back. We see you did a shitty job. You got the wrong guy, but we're going to do you a solid and back you up. They're all going to do that. No. Over in Delphi, they got rid of every outsider they could possibly. Authorities and the state police, and only a few selected state policemen were involved in that case, if you ask me. So it's way different, it's just a way different thing. But yeah, that rumor has never been a confirmation anywhere of that.
Oops.
Frank, I got that picture downloaded. I'm gonna see what I can do here. See, I got Frank's email, but I didn't get one from her yet. Maybe she got the wrong email address. I don't know.
Okay. Sorry, I found something else. So,
Okay.
this what is this? This is a YouTube short. It says they've got this screenshot and it says she did call 911. But this screenshot, I'm like, is it from this interview where he had on this gray hat and a gray shirt and is sitting in this yellow room? I mean, is it
I don't
this
know.
one? It said on national TV, Fox News.
Is it from somebody's TikTok video?
It's a YouTube short.
Oh.
And then they've got music and, whatever, and then they put their own screenshots, but they don't actually,
Who,
I don't think they
who was
have
the
it.
account? Can you tell?
Yeah. Oh, Cool the Lucher?
Oh,
Cool the
no.
Lucher?
No.
No.
Nope. I choose not to even believe whatever that says. Honestly, that's my personal private opinion. You guys go do what you want. Go listen to who you want, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I think whoever that is somebody who's
I know exactly who it is and what they're about. That's why I'm not doing it.
okay, wait a minute. Maybe it's this about the suspect's arrest. No, this is him on the phone.
I know I got a clip about them too I'd love to discuss. I'm going to do it on my next show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about what the parents say and don't say, I got something. Forensic Frenzy had to leave out. She had a lunch engagement, so she's going to come back on the show because this one particular thing that I do want to talk about that the parents said, yeah, she needs to be in on that conversation with me. So I'm going to schedule that with her, and we'll get that set up this week, actually, because nobody's ever talked about it but us, me, Dolphin, Firefly, and a Forensic Frenzy. So it's just you can agree with it or disagree with it. You know how that goes. Yeah, they called 911 with DM's phone, but it wasn't one of the victims that passed. It wasn't. Kaylee never attempted to call 911 before she was unalived. I don't even think she would have had time. I mean, you're laying in bed next to Maddie as it's going down. I mean, no, I don't know. Sometimes we've got to use logic and common sense as we're trying to work through some of the stuff, and shit, sometimes common sense and logic don't make no sense, does it?
Yeah. I'm still looking because I found another creator that did the same thing, has this screenshot and a quote. It says, "I can tell by my daughter's text messages, ... And then it said she did call 911. That the quote above it is right. That's what he did say before. Because like I said, he said he looked at the text messages.
But was it when she thought she was being stalked at the grocery store? And that was the text exchange and somebody leaked it and that YouTube.
No.
Okay. But none of that Brett Norton stuff with the leaked emails and
No.
screenshots and trading. Yeah, okay, because I can't with them people. That one account there, man. I've seen the fuckery it will do. Okay, I'm trying to find it too, Dolphin, but I just don't know if it even exists, to be honest.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, I found something. So it's on another creator's channel. He's not showing the interview, I guess, because doesn't want to get tagged for fair use. It's on Harsh's channel, so the audio is in here. And if you pay attention to what he says after he says she didn't call 911, he's speaking. Everything that he's saying is in the negative tense. So, is this still shared?
We have your screen up. Let me move that one. Let me see. I got your screen share, but I still see the court hearing up.
Oh, for me? Oh, maybe I'm okay. Sharing the wrong window. No. Share. Stop. Where is it? Oh, I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now you can see this. Like a TV with the kids on. Okay.
And this is Harsh Reality?
This is Harsh Reality.
Okay.
Did Steve Gonzalez really say Kaylee called 911? This is from a year ago. December 4th, 2023. Okay. So yeah, everybody just listen to this. It's all the way up.
Common sense, but I'm not professional, so I want to specify that. But they said that entry point was the slider or the window. It was in the middle floor. So to me, he doesn't have to go upstairs. His entry and exit are available without having to go upstairs or downstairs. Looks like he probably may have not gone downstairs. We don't know that for sure, but he obviously went upstairs. So I'm using logic that he chose to go up there when he didn't have to.
It's coming.
And I can kind of tell by my daughter's text messages. She called 911. She wasn't saying anything along the lines of like she heard something or she was in fear. So I'm just putting the dots together.
Okay. See that? He said going by her text messages, da, 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 she didn't call 911. She wasn't, and he hit that last T harder that time, right after that she wasn't in, fear. What did he say? Go back.
Daughter's texts, and I can kind of tell by my daughter's texts messages. She didn't call 911. She wasn't saying anything along the lines of like she heard something or she was.
Okay. The text messages he's talking about right there is when she was trying to call and text Jack.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't call or text 911, but the text she was sending to someone wasn't indicating that she felt in fear. And I think that's what people are not hearing correctly.
Sorry. I was Firefly's little dig about me playing well.
I just seen that. Get her, Firefly. Get her.
No, I think that's Restream. You know, my stuff is really, really good. Computer's a beast. So is my internet connection. So
Yes, she does.
That's me.
If I'm jealous of anybody's setup, it is Dolphins. Oh my goodness, that's so
there's
funny.
Norma. She said, let me see if I can email the interview. Norma, did you hear the little clip that we just heard from it?
And Norma,
When he
I was able
talking about
to.
it?
I got Frank's email, but I haven't gotten yours. saltysleuth@gmail.com. And I'll check again.
Actually, you can drop the link to the interview in the chat too.
If you have it, yeah.
Then we could just click straight from there.
I should be able to do that, huh?
No, I mean Norma. If she's got the actual
If she can
interview
drop
up,
it,
all she has to do is copy the URL and paste it in chat. Or I don't know if you're on your phone, but you can click the little curvy arrow that's for share, and then copy the link, and then come back to your YouTube app and drop it, like paste it in chat. You tap the chat field and press down, and then paste will come up. So I don't know if you're using a phone or a computer, but yeah, you could do it either way. You're laughing at me.
Yeah, Greg, we're likely to go down many. All right,
Okay.
Donnie. Thank you, Donnie. Thanks for coming
snow
in.
racing. Sounds like fun.
Snow racing. I know ours melted in 3 days. We didn't have any more. You should
I
have seen
would
these
like to
Florida
know.
boys out here, though, trying to figure out how to slide across snow. Like, we don't have mountains and hills. So my neighbor and her son went down the highway, and there was a red clay mound that was covered in snow. We got boogie boards and skim boards. We're Florida people. You give us something to surf on. But we're out there on our boogie boards and stuff, trying to slide across the snow on them. We don't have no damn sleds.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. We had a blast.
I'm still trying to see. Let me see. So this is what date? This is
She
Fox.
said that one piece she's
November
talking about was
30th.
on Fox News.
Yeah, and I've been searching. That's what she said Fox 4 News. That article that Joe linked, it says it was published November 30th. So maybe it was on that date.
Where's my back chat?
Where's my search?
Oh, they moved my thing.
Hmm.
So what did Harsh to conclude on that? Does he think
Oh,
that
I don't know. Let me see.
So I'm just putting
He probably
the dots
heard
together.
it correctly.
yeah, I know.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you are. This all it takes to repay repay the bill of Christmas. Anyway, spoken like a true Grinch. Anyway, let's get straight into something. Because yesterday I did a video and I
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
didn't call 911.
Yeah.
Not 99.999% sure that it did it. Did it do it for you?
There we go.
No, it didn't. Did it? I'm still 99.99999% sure that he says didn't call 911. Not did call 911. Obviously, he's talking relatively quick, and it's obviously not 100% to me, but I would say that would it make sense if he said that she did in that context where he's having this conversation? Does it make sense for him to say, from looking at the text messages, Kaylee did call 911, and you can see that she wasn't scared for her life, because he doesn't actually say what she actually called 911 for then. He just randomly breezes over that. So that is why I am concluding that he says didn't call 911. And he has obviously looked at the text messages that was on her phone, and at no point there is anything on there that would raise alarm bells or suspicion that there was an ongoing situation that she was texting anybody about. We do know, however, that both herself and Madison would be trying to contact Jack. Now they have downplayed this. We've spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I can't believe that Harsh agrees with me on something.
Yeah, you know,
I'm about to fall out on the floor. Y'all just don't know.
Now, a long time ago, he was, nice and, even keeled and all that. I mean, I guess he sort of still is, and he's still very much.
I don't watch him anymore, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't so much either, but he's very much on the fence. Like.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he's got some pretty good content. If somebody can drop his link in the chat, I can grab it as well. I'm not telling y'all who you can or cannot listen to, except for that Cooler Hooch, whatever they want to call themselves account. That's a not even an account, in my opinion. And I don't care if they know I said it, but Harsh is not a horrible guy. I don't always agree with what he says, but then again, we don't need to always agree with people,
Mm-hmm.
So you can go over and check out his content. Let me grab his.
No, I just dropped it for you.
Okay, thank you. Now, like I said, we don't see eye to eye on many things, especially over the past year. But, I still watch others who don't have the same opinion as me to keep myself balanced, and that's how I don't get tunnel vision.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want nobody, people are like, oh, y'all just have tunnel vision. You're this, you're that. No, you don't understand how long I will sit and critically think in my backyard with a cup of coffee, watching the bird or listening to the birds, thinking about this stuff. That's what I do. My brain just goes there. So I put a lot of thought into it. I don't try just to, but I do appreciate everybody's difference of opinions. And like calling us out and saying, hey, but go back and listen to this. I heard it differently, like Firefly did with us earlier, but she knows she can do that. You guys can do that here. It's safe. It's safe to come here and share your opinions. But like I said, we can stay in our lanes, but we can do this like adults. And we've been actually getting good feedback on that. And by the way, and that is, a testament not just to me, to my guests, my co-hosts that come on, to the chat itself, the way we all conduct ourselves with each other. Apparently you guys are liking that. So much love and appreciation to all of you for that. Really, it means a lot. And you like Lana's tenacity. Yeah, I used to watch Lana a long time ago, but I don't watch her anymore either. She's got a very different view of the Cobra case than I do, and that's fine as well. Like I said, there's a lot of different channels out there, and everybody can go and take a look at what they want and you make up your own minds, but watch somebody for a little while, and try to learn them. I don't know.
I'm trying to find the the photo that I just saw because I was like, maybe I should image search it because I don't know what happened to Norma. Because maybe image searching it will get us the exact interview where he was wearing what he was wearing in these.
Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
Sorry, that I didn't mean. I
Bullshit.
Is that yours?
Bullshit.
Okay.
Bullshit.
That was me. Watch. Yeah, that was me.
Let's see. Yeah, because he's got on a hat and a gray T-shirt.
I couldn't find any articles about that except for Steve saying that the only thing he can think of about the unconscious person, was the roommates not being able to reach the girls on their phones because they were calling and texting Maddie and Kaylee and Xana's phones, getting no responses. But still, we don't know. They say that's just an initial thing they sent out there, right? Unconscious person, because nobody knew what the hell was going on. But I can't find anything. And like I said, in the 2 years, and even Harsh just agreed that he wasn't saying that she dialed 911 or texted 911. So, but again, you can make up your own minds, obviously.
911 doesn't dispatch police for an unconscious person if they don't get a report of an unconscious person from the 911 caller. So if it's just,
Right.
I can't reach them, they're not answering their phone, then it's a welfare check. But if there's a dispatch for an unconscious person, then that's what the caller is reporting to 911 dispatch.
Right. That's what I'd often wonder too when Ethan or when Hunter gained access to the room, and found Ethan, didn't want to believe he was deceased or whatever. Or was it because one of the roommates was passed out on the ground outside? It was such chaotic few minutes there. Who knows what actually got reported? We don't know what happened. They're not responding. That's an unconscious person.
I thought it was a placeholder for
That's
them.
what we were told.
Like it was their procedure.
That's
No.
what we were told about
No.
Idaho.
No, that's not how 911 operates. You
Well,
don't send people out to an unconscious person unless the caller is reporting that.
that's what we all understood as well. But we deep dove. People have paid way more attention to detail in this case than they probably should have. That was deep dove. I mean, we're talking down in that rabbit hole and stayed there for weeks probably about that unconscious person detail. So I just don't know anymore either. It's just it is
Well, I assume we're going to hear the 911 calls.
what it is. I don't know. Idaho has their own codes. Indiana, that it would be more like that someone would have to make a statement to that effect. But we were explained that there was a really chaotic call and nobody really knew what was going on. And like Dolphin said, that was what they labeled it as. But we don't know for sure. This is what we were hearing from people within the state that work in the system. So I just don't know, So.
I guess we'll hopefully find out. Hopefully we'll hear those 911 tapes, right, at trial.
Oh, you're going to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very beginning.
In the very beginning, that's going to open your trial right there with what happened. And 911 was called 8 hours later. And don't think that Ann's not going to drive that home. Because she absolutely is. And I don't blame her. I mean, I get what happened. I get what more than likely happened and why the delay occurred. But as a defense attorney, her job is to drive that home. That's the way I see that. Yeah. They will play they'll have to play that 911 call during the trial. I mean, these aren't 12-year-old children. They were young adults. You're old enough to get your ass out there and party. You're old enough to get your butt on the witness stand now and hear your own 911 call. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be ugly about the kids, but young adults, but it's time to grow up a little bit. We hear 911 calls in every case that goes to trial. And the only reason we haven't heard this one yet is because there's a gag order. Otherwise, it would be out there. It most certainly would. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up for today. I think I'm going to go outside and sit and enjoy some of this beautiful Florida afternoon sunshine. Hopefully it don't rain this week. So I better go get it. Well, I don't usually look at the weather because it's just cold. It's winter. If I wake up and it's sunny and warm, it's a bonus day in the winter. But who knows when, I might get rain this week. So I'm going to go enjoy it while I can. Again, thanks for coming in, everybody. I appreciate it. And then Forrest, I know you had to go. You're here. Okay. Thank you for gifting memberships again. We appreciate it, and welcome to all of our new members. And I am trying to keep up with posts for the members over on the channel. So you guys look over there for updates. And here in just a little bit, I will be uploading that video of the drive around King Road, and I'm going to be sure and probably link JLR in it so he doesn't see it, or get a tool that tells him I used his video and him come at me. Because come on, JLR, I'm prepared.
I found it. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you.
I'm over here.
I found the actual interview.
I'm just talking to myself because my gummy and all that shit. I'm over here talking to myself. And I'm like,
no,
yeah,
I'm sorry. Because this was bugging me, right?
She's like,
So
shut up. I knew it would. She was not going to
and
stop until she found it.
I just want to put a stop to it,
Thank you.
Let's just,
I love her.
This to rest. So I found it. Let me
you do your thing, girlfriend. Let me get to my screen.
Really quick.
Okay, let me get to that screen where I can pull you up. All right.
Okay. Let's see. Share. The one with 23. Yeah, and she was right. It's on Fox, whatever news. Actually, though, this is coming from Conspiracy's channel.
Okay. Long as we got clear, as long as we can hear him.
Okay. Do you need to drop a link for her or whatever? Or?
Nah.
Okay. Yeah. And you can see him too. That's even better because you can see his face while he's saying it.
Yes.
So let's see. Okay, you guys can see the whole window? Great.
Yes.
And it has captions. I don't know if the caption will pick it up.
Correct.
But okay.
YouTube captions are wrong as hell sometimes on music.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so here he's talking about, his theory about, he didn't have to go upstairs, blah, blah, blah. And then he launches into the bit about 911. So I'll just,
chose to go up there when he didn't have to. And I can kind of tell by my daughter's text messages. She did call 911. She wasn't saying anything along the lines of she'd heard something or she was in fear. So I'm just putting the dots together. As far as the investigators, they're very tight-lipped, and they're keeping everything
close
to
their
their
chest. Up? Or you?
No, that was.
Oh.
Okay. That was it. You didn't hear it? Closed captions got it right too.
Huh?
The closed captions, the CC at the bottom. Did you see it?
Okay.
It's
I can barely. I see
it. Are we?
Rearrange. Hold on. Before you start again, rearrange our icon so we're off to the right, Salty. So
I gotta find the. Hang on, Joe. I gotta.
If you want me to, I can slow him down.
No. Leave it up, because I gotta. It won't let me go back to the one we were at earlier.
That works too. No, it doesn't. No, we need to be off to.
Yep. See, it put us back.
We can see the icons.
Yeah, I know, but this gives you. This is different than StreamYard. The way it gives me
Closed
layouts.
caption. Right.
I don't know. I'm cutting out when you guys are talking, so I didn't even know what you said. Hang on, I'm trying to get to the screen layout. The options are way different than in. Oops. Shit. All right, let's see.
You're cracking me up. Oops.
Remember
shit.
what you
right.
on before?
Yeah, I think I did, Dolphin. Let's see. Let me get her screen back up. Okay, now is that better?
We got it.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're cooking.
Did it change? Oh, you know what? I'm looking at your actual live stream window too, and yeah, I think it's maybe laggy. Okay, great. So we're on the right side of this.
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Okay, now I'm gonna play.
You mentioned here, you talked about the manner in which Kaylee and Maddie were killed is different. And what does that tell you, and what are the police telling you that means?
There's a couple things that tell me with common sense, but I'm not a professional, so I want to specify that. But they've said the entry point was the slider or the window. It was in the middle floor. So to me, he doesn't have to go upstairs. His entry and exit are available without having to go upstairs or downstairs. Looks like he probably may have not gone downstairs. We don't know that for sure. But yeah, obviously he went upstairs. So I'm using logic that he chose to go up there when he didn't have to. And I can kind of tell by my daughter's text messages. She did call 911. She wasn't saying anything along the lines of like she had heard something or she was in fear. So I'm just putting the dots together. As far as the investigators, they're very
Okay, sorry. So there it is. I mean, if you, I'm gonna back up to so you can see his, kind of tell by the text messages. She didn't call 911. If you and people don't nod or no wait, they don't. Yeah, they don't shake their heads when they're making a positive statement. They shake their heads like that, like no.
Yeah,
You're making a negative statement, and he was shaking his head the whole entire time.
Yeah.
This didn't happen. This didn't happen. This didn't happen.
And he can tell by her text messages that she was not in fear because she was texting Jack, and he could read it, and they could see her call log. They could see what the phone did. She didn't call 911. She didn't reach out in that text saying, "Get over here, we're scared." No, instead, Kaylee's wanting to know, what are we going to do about our future and this dog? And Jack's like, "I'm done with it tonight, Kaylee. We'll talk tomorrow." Poor guy. Because I think if he probably carries a lot of guilt that if I'd have just picked up that phone, I could have walked down there and talked to her. Or she could have came down here and talked with me, whatever. So there's a whole lot, psychologically there that I can only imagine that he's having to live with now because of that. But I'm glad you found that. So we can
I am
see
too. I'm going to bookmark it because I'm
please
tired
do.
of hearing with certain inconsistencies. I'm just like, oh, can we clear this up really quick, please?
Yeah, that's the whole thing about Idaho 4. There's been so much in the 2 years that never came out of a court filing that has come out of rumors, and I can't stand when somebody does a clip like this and why turn the speed up? So it's not even that long of a clip. Don't go full speed. That's when the words and things start to get messed up. Slow it down. Let everybody hear it in the true context it was given. I can see speeding up a court hearing when you got slow talkers up there like this, but not that. It makes it very difficult for some people. My brain can't compute it. Like, I can't stand to be in the car and a commercial comes on, and at the very end, the guy starts talking 100 miles per hour about some stupid stuff I don't want to hear. Like, my mind goes nuts when I hear that. Like, I cannot take that fast talking. So sorry. But I'm glad you found that, because I'm with you. If we can clear up rumors or things we've heard, then I want to be able to do that here. And if we can set things straight, or we can be set straight on things we thought we heard, that's awesome as well. That is part of being a community, right? I'm not up here doing this just so y'all will listen to me and believe me, and I'm telling you I'm the one right and everybody else is wrong. No, I'm not your girl for that. I will tell you if I don't disagree with you, though. Let's see, riddle me this. How does a PhD candidate whose focus was psychology, geoforensics, get his perfect crime foiled by some pesky traffic cams? LPR in Colorado. And convenience store cam. We mean he was caught on cameras in other places than that too. You can't avoid the cameras, and he knows that. So what? How was the credit correctly? Could have left the sheath as a calling card, but I don't think that sheath was never meant to get left, people. Honestly, you can't walk in somewhere with a knife that huge and not be in a protective sleeve until you get where you need to be. And I don't think it was intentionally left. I could be totally wrong, and if it was intentionally left, it was left for a calling card purposes, but it didn't expect to have no DNA on it. What kind of idiot would do that? All right, guys.
Oh, I'm familiar with that, Greg. I just saw his
Oh.
Just last comment about this case where
Mhm.
the ambulance pulse oximeter
Oh, yeah.
transferred trace DNA. Yeah, I
Yep.
remember that.
We've discussed that case many times, but here's the difference. That case was very easy to follow and understand how that transfer occurred. And that's my thing here in Idaho. If that sheath DNA is transfer, you better give me a damn good explanation as to how it got there. Because the cereal box theory don't cut it. And if you know, you know. He was spoiled by the touch DNA. Sorry. All right, guys.
Yeah,
Well, with that said, I am going to call it a day now and get outside. I got to take the dog out and all that good stuff. But I enjoyed having you all here. And again, Dolphin, thanks for joining us. Joe, thanks for coming up.
Thank you. It was
We
fun.
will we'll get Forensic Frenzy back up for another show because, like I said, there is a particular thing I'd like to discuss, and yeah, we'll get that on the books for
Yeah.
sure. I don't stream on Monday mornings usually because I stream on Sunday. I'm back on Tuesday morning with our
But
morning.
I might do episode 5 tomorrow morning.
I was
We'll
about
see.
to ask, are you planning to go live in the morning?
Yes, I'm planning on it. But
All
we all
right.
know about the best laid plans of mice and men.
Well, if something comes up and you decide not to, I might. It depends on how I feel in the morning and what kind of news pops off during the night. All right, guys. Innocent until proven guilty. Yes. Innocent until proven guilty. We are, I back that 100,000%, but I also back the fact that we do have the freedom to sit here and discuss.
Yeah,
things.
well, innocent until proven guilty also applies to Richard Allen.
Yeah, it
and
does.
there's a huge community out there that believes that the jury made the wrong decision.
It applies to every defendant. Their rights matter. Innocent until proven guilty, all that matters. But I choose to be in this genre. I choose to come and talk about true crime. But I don't choose to go at every case as if the prosecutors are misleading the public or they all had a poor investigation. I just don't buy it. I'm not naive. I know it happens. The hell, it happened in Delphi. Look at the Murdaugh case, the stuff that was going on over there with all the stuff he pulled for years. Suffolk County, where Rex Heuermann was arrested, finally, years of corruption in that big force over there. So I know it can happen, but I'm just not seeing it in Idaho yet. And the minute somebody can show me something that tells me otherwise, I'll be like, let's go. But until then, I gotta, I'm gonna believe what I need to believe. But all right, guys. So anyway, y'all have a great rest of your day. Go enjoy it and get out and touch some grass.
Thank you.
Have a great
I'm
day.
gonna feed the dog.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.